meeting of the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees this Thursday, July 9, 2026. If you're able to stand, please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll ask the secretary to call the roll.
Trustee Bartlett.
Here.
Trustee Burke.
Here.
Trustee Checkeye is absent excused. Trustee Dooley.
Here.
Trustee Helvangus present. Trustee Stirring.
Present.
Trustee Yu.
Present.
Next item is the approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
The agenda has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, I'll ask the secretary to take the vote.
Well, I just,
Oh. Okay.
Director Farkas and I talked a minute ago, and she's going to correct the 2027 library closings so that it corresponds with the minutes from last week. So she's, right?
So
That's
that
one.
would,
Excuse
yes, so that would be the Friday in December.
You're taking it off the list?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that. Yep.
Okay.
That's all, just wanted to.
Okay. Thank you, Lori, for bringing that forward.
So move to accept the agenda with the correction of the date at the end?
Closure.
Of the closure.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, I'll ask the secretary to take the vote.
Trustee Bartlett.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Helvangus says yes. Trustee Stirring.
Yes.
Trustee Yu.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes the approval of minutes of June 11, 2016, which was a regular board meeting. It also includes the approval of the claims and warrants of accounts 271 and 272, which are on pages 16 through 18. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Tori?
Just a quick thing, and under roll call, there is a typo with my name under the roll call section.
In the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. In the minutes?
Yeah, in the
Okay.
roll call section.
Oh, correct. Thank you. We will make note of that.
Oh, first, yep, sorry.
Okay. With the correction of
Got it, thank
Tori
you.
Yu's name in the minutes, any further discussion on approval of the consent agenda? Julie?
Yes. What was I going to tell you? I just want to point out, and we highlighted it in red for you, that this is the warrant, but there still might be invoices that have not been received through June of 2026.
Right.
We're still in that process of getting things completed for the end of the year.
Which would be a similar comment in the treasurer's report, although we have things through the end of June, there may still be things that
Correct.
get
Correct.
counted for the.
Yes,
for
and an
the
example-
25-26
You're right.
fiscal year.
An example would be, we had some concrete work done, and it was done the last week of June. Therefore, the vendor has not sent us the invoice yet. It will go towards 25, 26, but we haven't received it yet. So there are things still trickling in. It's my hope, after having a conversation with the new finance team, we've met a couple of the new employees, that will close out everything by the end of July is their target. So we should be good after that. Most things are in. It's just what happened in the last week of June that
Okay.
still needs to be finished up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Reminder. With those two comments, then, any further discussion?
I have
for-
one more.
Okay.
What
Tori.
just popped up above my typo? It says 5 board members were present. I think we were all here. if I'm counting the names correctly.
Oh, yep, without the new,
Good grief.
yep.
Yep, you're right.
Okay.
So it should be 6.
Yeah.
Got it.
With those 3 corrections, consent agenda,
I'm done.
any other comments? If not, I'll ask the secretary to take the vote.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Helvangus says yes. Trustee Stirring.
Yes.
Trustee Yu.
Yes.
And Trustee Bartlett.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Moving on the agenda, the next item is presentations. The first presentation we have is from the strategic planning update for 2025-2026 and the public survey information. We welcome Lori Lowry, our Assistant Director of Public Services.
Yes. Welcome, Lori.
Hello. We had a very successful year. We got a lot done, 25, 26. You do have this strategic plan document in your packets. I believe it starts on page 95. The strategic plan, the 4 areas that we cover were the same as last year: to align funding and services, improve internal communications, adapt resources, services, and facilities, and staff investment and retention. And we are highlighting 4 of those items on the front cover: the automated materials handling system, which is, staff love it. The reminiscence kits are to be used in the senior care facilities and for senior outreach. The second single-user booth is on the first floor behind the display case. It's kind of hidden, but it is still very well used. And we did hit the $65,000 for the youth renovation fund. We hit it right at the end of the fiscal year. So those were some of the major milestones, as well as the city council approving the .2 mills to begin on July 1st. And we have some new makerspace equipment. One of our big things was listening and improving. Part of that was introducing the customer service plan that was presented at last year's Staff in Service Day. It was focused all on customer service. We had presentations by staff as well as outside people. It was well received. Under aligning funding and services, some of the big things were, of course, the funding awareness to get that approval of the additional 2.2 mills from the City Council. We did a patron survey in April, which we'll talk about a little bit more after this part. The 65th anniversary campaign, which started on the 65th anniversary to raise that money for the youth renovations. The library board goal, your goal of the reserve plan, falls under this section. And then the technology plan was a big project that was developed to make sure that we keep our technology state of art, and the marketing plan as well. For improving internal communications, we have the help desk ticket system, which is in the process of being implemented. We are using it for staff schedule requests, and just starting to roll it out for the IT and the facilities requests. The departments are working on their department manuals, HR, IT, and facilities, as well as IS. The digital org chart is available for staff with pictures to help when we have new staff. And as you all know, the public policies are reviewed, being reviewed not only with you, but with staff as well. For adapting resources, services, and facilities, we have been doing a lot of outreach to community events where we are having tables, interacting with the members of the community that maybe don't make it into the library. We are also working with local organizations, bringing them into the library so that they can share their information with us and with each other. And then we do have their handouts and information on the first floor. The 6th Read Box opened. As we talked about, the AMHS, the Automated Material Handling System, is put in place. We moved one of the copiers to make the wait time a little less for people that were printing. The iCube has a new embroidery machine, which it was running when I left the library tonight, as well as new 3D printer and some of the other things that they've added. We have been trying to increase more programming to the north part of the city. We've been doing more programs at Fox Run. We've done a little bit at Lakeshore Park, and we have partners that we work with throughout the community for programming, such as the Novi Mental Health Alliance, the No Key Foundation, and the Michigan Shiga Sisters State Program. We are increasing what we have in the collections. We've increased resources for seniors, the Reminisce kits that I mentioned. Those have themes with manipulatives that seniors can hold. Then they talk about the memories they bring back. They've got, some of them have music with CDs, programs, video, all different types of materials with them to get them thinking and talking. We've got the Vox books that were added for adults and teens. Those are the books that have the audiobook player embedded in the book. Those are good for people that are learning English especially, or maybe that just want to improve their understanding. They can listen, they can read. We have a lot of them for the kids. These are the first ones we've added for the teens and the adults. We also have more large print for teens and tweens. We did have a teen come in asking for more of those materials. We got money from the MSU Federal Credit Union. A very large inventory project was completed. That was the support services staff going through and physically taking each book we have and scanning it in to make sure that all the books in each collection were accounted for. If something wasn't there, they looked for it. They cleaned up catalog records. It was very staff intensive, but it saves a lot of time for staff that are looking for books and for patrons that know if they find a book in the catalog, it should be on the shelf. The Read Japan project was just recently unveiled, the books that we received for those. We talked about the customer service training and the customer service plan that was developed by the customer service committee. The second single user booth. We've added more supplies to the teen lounge. I will say I love seeing that space being used in the summer, that the teens are coming to the library and they're using the teen lounge, not just after school. And we do have new tables and chairs to use on the patio for outdoor performances. The old ones were having a little bit of wear and tear going up, in and out on that rough surface outside. And then for accessibility, as you all know, library staff as well as the board read Serving Patrons with Disabilities this last fall. And we had our customer service policy bookmarks, which are the most common policies we talk to patrons about. Those were translated into Japanese, Korean, Hindi, and Spanish. For staff investment and retention, we have offered more professional development available. It's called homeless de-escalation because it was originally from being used in homeless shelters, but it is in general just a real good customer service training on how to interact with people, how to build the rapport before there's an issue. A lot of it is not just de-escalating, but interacting with patrons so you do not have those issues. NPL University is something that we've started with customer service, where we are allowing staff to do some job shadowing in other departments. We did a trial run of that in the spring, and once it slows down a little after the summer, we plan on rolling that out to other departments. And we have the fun staff events that staff all enjoy, being able to interact with each other in a little lighter atmosphere. And of course, 2 staff had tuition reimbursement. And of course, we thank our partners, the Friends, and the Historical Commission. And those were the major things that we finished this year. We'll be meeting next week to start planning what we want to work on for this coming year. We do have some things that rolled over that we were still in the process of working on, and then we're looking to see what needs to be added. And a lot of that will be based on the patron survey. The patron survey, we had a return of 488 responses, which I think was amazing for 1 month. You do have, what is on the screen right now is the 1-page document, which is in your packets, I believe, right after the strategic planning information. These ones that we included here are the things that we thought were the most important to share with the public. You do have then what I handed out to you, the full results from the survey, and you've got that in the email as well. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. But I think the amazing thing is that how would you rate the service from library staff? We have excellent and good for over 90%, over 98%. Only 2.3% said that it was poor. As well as how would you rate the hours of operation in terms of convenience? Again, only 2.9% said it was poor. And do you feel the library is welcoming and inclusive? Only 3.1% said no. We are, I think, doing an excellent job, and it shows with the response that we're getting from the public. Why do they come to visit us? It's still books. Books or books on CD were the number one with 73%. And then I love that the second was just enjoy spending time there. We are that space that people can come together, either to work in, as a group or just to sit and be around people. And then we wanted to see if they were aware of the services we offered. Part of this is so that we can promote the services that they were not aware of. So we can put those in the social media posts and get the word out. And then just a couple of the quotes from the patrons. And one of my favorite is the one, I have a deep love for the library. The Novi Library is our favorite in the area, and even my teenager drives there to study with friends. She feels comfortable there, and I feel comfortable that it's a safe environment for her and her friends. But there were, of course, some questions. The people wanted more. So we asked when we asked for the awareness of services, you'll see the things that here that they were less aware of. So we are highlighting those. We asked if they wanted technology, if assistance, and if they would, what kind. So we are looking just at how we could maybe provide some of those services for them. A few people said the library's website was not easy to navigate. That's going to be worked on. Of course, the ebooks, the demand is high. That budget has been increased a little bit. And the demand for library programming is high, with some suggestions for other types of programs that we don't do as much of, such as environmental, recycling, sustainability. We do a whole lot of cultural programming, but they want more. So that is being taken into consideration. And then, of course, we're just talking about some of the things that people say are important to them, and it was covered by the increase in the 0.2 mil from the city council. There will be a QR code when this goes out to the public with a link to our frequently asked questions. So for people that weren't sure how to access ebooks, or they didn't know we had online magazines, they had some other questions. We're working on that with staff right now to have those answers. It'll all be in one page, one place. Will be linked from here. It'll be linked on the website, and Dana's doing some social media for it as well. Thank you.
Any questions for Lori or myself? What we had the opportunity to meet with Trustee Bartlett, who is the Strategic Planning Committee. So he met with the two of us. And what we'd like to do is, this is being brought to you just from a broad perspective right now, and you have the data. If you could respond to Trustee Bartlett with any thoughts, questions that maybe doesn't seem to be in there that maybe should. I'd rather work with Trustee Bartlett and then our committee, and then we'll come back and massage this again, because I'd like an approval on this. This is something I'd like to share with City Council and you know, have as a document that you are all comfortable with. And so if there's anything that which you have some time, I'll work with Trustee Bartlett to get a date for him to reach out to you for when, you know, your thoughts and concerns or questions can be sent to him, and then we can work from there. I think that would probably be the easiest.
Great.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you, Lori, very much. I mean, very impressive for you, the rest of the people that worked on it. It's a very impressive product. Makes us all proud.
Thank you.
A couple things. And I had to read it I felt obligated to have a comment. So I had to read it 3 or 4 times before I could come up with a comment. I do have a couple of comments.
Okay.
And I'll send these to Brian later on. But as I went through it, there were a couple thoughts that occurred to me. But it took 3 or 4 readings before I could come up with anything. In the page where it talks about patrons demanding highlights the importance of capital and operational funding, there's a quote, and I suspect it's a quote that was given to us that the library is one of the first places we visited before moving to Michigan, BC.
It was the patron question.
And is that an exact? No. It took me a while to figure out what BC was because I'm old, but I know it stands for because, but would it make more sense to spell it out?
Or at least put that in quotes.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
yeah.
A second comment was a demand for ebooks is high. And you gave some statistics from July 2024 to July of 2025. I know maybe it's early, but could we get the statistics from July 25 to June 26, or is it too early to have them?
No, we can now.
We
You can now.
We have them when we had it.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought, but
Yeah.
I think it would be maybe
Sure.
a little more appropriate to
Of
have
course.
this year's if we could.
Sure.
And then the last bullet point I had was in the box that said on April 14, City Council voted 7-4 in favor of .20 mils for the library to begin July 1. It said this support is dedicated to meeting our essential ongoing capital and operational needs. If I was, languaging it, I would say ongoing and long-term capital operational needs. I think the long-term is a kind of thought.
Yeah, good.
And then lastly, and maybe I missed it, but it's a statistic that, and maybe it hasn't changed that much between last year and this year, but the statistics of how many materials we handle during the year. I think that's about, it's 650,000 hard copies, and we have the digital of 175 or something like that. But that statistic, and I just want to pause, let's think about that for a minute. 650,000, that's 2,000 a day. That's open, that the library handles. To me, that's a big number. And if you can fit that in, I think it's important. Now, maybe it hasn't changed much from last year. Maybe it's not necessarily an update, but I think that number is really critical when you think of it. And then when you go back to the digital materials, that's 500 a day. I mean, that's a lot of movement. I mean, and we hear sometimes, nowadays we hear millions and billions and stuff like that, but to think of 2,000 a day of hard copies and 500 a day, but that's just amazing to me. And the other thing, and there's a number of things here I wasn't aware that we were doing, but I thought it was kind of a sleeper, but maintaining quality. Staff invested more than 1,700 hours improving collection accuracy, physically verifying 141,481 items, and correcting more than 1,300. It's something we don't think about much, probably doesn't get a lot of attention, but I mean, amazing behind the scenes work to improve the quality. And I mean, that jumped out at me because I never thought about that before. I mean, a few other things I didn't know about too, maybe a few more than a few. And very impressive, and my congratulations and thanks goes to you and the team.
Thank you. Mark, if I could just for a moment piggyback to something that you mentioned, which was the statistics that you want for the end of the year for the circulation.
Yeah.
This is about our goals that we achieved this year. We will be doing an annual report.
Okay,
I just want to make sure there is a difference between the two documents, only
meeting the
because
goals that were
this
set.
was like our goal, like where we worked on major project and initiatives
I understand.
versus the numbers, which we will tell that story. They're going to audit this year in September, so hopefully we'll be able to even get out the annual report even earlier than December based on when the audit is.
Okay.
And then we will have those new numbers.
understand.
But we do have them, as of July, you have them in here for the end of the year.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty amazing, the numbers.
I have a question. I know it was a monumental task to do the inventory, let's call it, on the library. How often do we do that? Or
We don't do it regularly. I mean, so I
it
can
was
find
just
out for
time?
you, but
No,
yeah.
it's okay. I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
Yeah.
It was just time.
They're not doing it all the time, but when they have large opportunities to, they will, or if there's a collection that seems out of whack. We also try to keep it so that the catalog itself stays clean, to know if we're missing something from the collection. That usually is addressed when someone's like, I was looking for this material and it's not there, and we do all these shelf checks and stuff, but once in a while, we've got to do a full inventory. It hadn't been done in a while, a few years, actually. So we probably won't do it again to the extent that we did this time. Usually they take a big section, they'll get it and have that as one of their goals. But they did a pretty good amount this year just to knock it out. So I'm very proud of them. It went along with our catalog and everything too that's been new, plus with the automated return. Why have materials that are potentially tagged and then not in the system and stuff, and you're not having to deal with that? So it all kind of fits together. Any other thoughts, comments? Trustee Bartlett, you want to weigh in because you helped us out big time, and you were part of the original strategic plan. So
one note that I made in the meeting that we all need to be aware of, especially those that have been around for a while. This is our last year of the original 3 years with Rethinking Libraries. I did ask Director Farkas to thank them and also reach out to them. I don't know if they have a follow-up program or anything, once a program has been completed. I would think that, with this report, they would be happy with the results. So I tasked her with finding out what a follow-up program would entail, seeing if we might take a benefit from it. They were very beneficial to us. I believe, and I think they did a very thorough job. So I think they're a good company to work with. Also on the list, there's on the bad news list. There's a comments about the website. I think everybody on the board should be aware, we share website services with the city. We are not in total control of
Right.
that. The
Yep.
city is aware that there are problems with the navigation of their website. So the fact that you're probably going to be looking at both of them being fixed or possibly even a new vendor, it may take a little bit more time than we'd expect.
Yes, and I appreciate you making that note because it is, though, a huge cost savings by working together and having our two sites being worked on and in tandem with each other and using the same vendor. So we have definitely saved money by doing that. But we know that there are things that they want to improve and we do as well. We also, which Dana has, our communications manager has kept you aware of, is we have some ADA requirements that will be coming in April that we have to make sure are up to date. And we've been told that our website designers and stuff are working on that. That won't be an issue, but those are things that are on our radar as well, which are also part of the marketing plan. Mhm. Yeah. Lori, thanks so much. Your first
Thank you,
presentation
Lori.
and you did
Thank
wonderful.
Yes, have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for our next presentation, recognition of Kathy Crawford for her years of service on the library board.
How are ya? I've been better. Come on up here.
Okay.
My dear friend. So, oh, gosh.
Don't start.
I know. I cannot thank you enough. Our board struggled a little bit, maybe a few years back, about 5 years ago, and we had the opportunity to bring you on board with us. And you brought calm, and you brought, to all of us and myself, you brought an opportunity where you look at all aspects of what we do from both sides. And we know that there are sides, political and otherwise, sometimes to the work that we do or even the conversations that we might have. I appreciate that you are thoughtful in thinking about the community as a whole and what works best for the community. I know that you're a champion for the library and what our mission is for all of our readers to get what they want and need. And I cannot thank you enough for your friendship, but also being a wonderful leader, mentor to me. I'm still being mentored and led, and you did that, and you were great in really bringing us through some things that were challenging with our board, but also came out, I think, very positively with having you part of this wonderful body. And Kathy, you know what? I just hope that we can continue to work together in some capacity. I know you're staying on Historical Commission, so we will see you. But the 5 years, and here's the thing, Kathy's really been around so many years. I mean, 19 that I'm coming on with the library, but she's around forever. You know her story. She truly has been around the library many, many years. For me, 19, I have known her. We had the benefit of her for 5, from 2021 until 2026. And you were president, you were vice president. You got involved in HR and DEI and strategic planning, which were some major committees that did a lot of work for this board and for our library over the last 5 years alone. And I truly just appreciate you with my whole entire heart. Yeah, don't go. So she still stops by and we go to lunch and, you know, now I can do things a little differently
That's
with my
not gonna
friendship.
stop, is
No,
it?
it won't.
'Cause I don't like
No,
that
it won't,
part
but, thank you. I think you also gave a really great example to what board members are and what their role is.
And you certainly gave me the opportunity to continue to grow, which I have. I learned a lot from you, from your role and from the seat you were in. And I just thank you so much for everything you have done for me, my staff, they love you, my staff, and the library as a whole. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Can I say a few words?
Yes, oh, I would never not let you say any words.
I was going to anyway, but I know. Well, I think you all should thank me also, because at the rate I'm breaking things, had a heart attack, hospitalizations, broken femur and everything, the flower budget, I really put a dent in the budget for flowers. So I know you'll appreciate that. Maybe there won't be any other, things come up. So I wanted to tell you, just sort of remind you, I know you all know that I've been around a long time, but I was born in Novi in 1942. Hugh, my husband, born in 41 in Novi. Virtually nothing was here but us, us and our families. We didn't have a library. We didn't even get a library till I was 18 years old. And when I was 18 years old, I was not thinking about the library, tell you the truth, to be honest with you. I never had that experience of the library. My mother took me over to Northville to the library. If you can even picture this, in the 40s and even the 50s, people that lived in Novi had to leave Novi for everything. I had to leave for school. I had to leave for Girl Scouts, for brownies, for recreation, for everything. The library, and we didn't even have a police department. We didn't have a fire department. Volunteers came. If there was a field fire, they came with brooms. We didn't have a police department to come. Finally, when we got Lee Begole became our fire department and our police department. So he came, opened his trunk, and he had a broom to put out fires. So that's how far back we go. I just would like to share that there was virtually nothing here in this city, including this building, that volunteers didn't start. Volunteers like yourselves who step up, who have the courage to be on a board or committee. This building, the police station, the fire station, Parks and Rec, all of those things started with volunteers who stepped up. So I really appreciate all of you stepping up, and as long as we have people who are willing to do it and continue to serve, I'm a cheerleader for the library, always, because it's something I never got to enjoy as a kid, but I'm sure making up for it now, and enjoying it. So keep up the good work, and if Trustee Checkeye doesn't fill my seat properly, tell him, don't make me come back. I will come back if I need to. So thanks again for everything. I appreciate the hard work that you do. Keep it up. So.
Thank you, Kathy.
I want to add something, Kathy.
Yes.
And it doesn't directly relate to the library, but years and years ago,
Yes.
I'm a city council member, and a young lady, you appealed to council to do senior housing, and you didn't get a warm reception. Yes, Beth, you got a cold reception, I thought, from council, but you kept pushing, and you kept pushing, and you kept pushing, and today we have Meadowbrook Commons because of your hard work.
Oh, thank you. I know I'm pushy.
Well, you were pushy in a very nice way, and we have that. And relative to this library, you were a proponent of this library before this library existed. You really were a proponent.
Well, we're believers. All of you up there are believers, or you wouldn't be here. We believers, it's kind of up to us to step up and continue doing those things. So I've always been that way because that's the way my family raised kids. Especially if you don't have anything, you have to do it because nobody else will. So thank goodness we have everything that we have today, and there's more to come, I'm sure. So thanks, Mark. I love being on the committee with you. I think one of the biggest discussions we ever had was what should the sign look like out in front of the building? Should it have flowers? Should it have reeds? Should it have deer on it? What should it?
Well, I thought the more important discussion was we need a popcorn maker. That was, I thought, a pretty important discussion, too.
Yeah,
Should it have a popcorn maker?
Yeah, thanks for your comments. And thanks for you helping to make that a possibility, too, because the people that live there, we've never had a vacancy. It is still full after over 20 years. That's amazing. We needed it.
Yep.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Kathy.
I just have one little thing to add. You know, we've known each other for many, many years.
Yes.
But the reflections from the board members area, it just hasn't been the same since you left.
That's true. That's exactly
Just do
true.
that part.
We are all struggling.
Yeah,
So maybe if you could just send in some,
maybe I could.
some
I
notes.
could, because I will have something to say. So, thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kathy.
I would stay for the meeting, but I don't think you'll appreciate seeing my leg up in the air.
All right.
Public comment. In order to hear all the citizens' comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect a 3-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session, however, it's an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the library board. Citizens must first state their first, last name, and address. Anybody wish to address the library board? I don't see anybody rushing up to the podium, so I will close the public session. Reports. Anything in regard to team space statistics on page 19?
Just that is the final count for the year through May. And trustee, you and I have met and we're working on some guidelines for the student rep position for the board. So more to come on that.
Great.
I do have a quick question.
Sure.
So Julie, like one thing that I kind of think would be helpful when you're closing out statistics is maybe showing a year-over-year comparison. You don't have to go back too far. Just maybe like the last fiscal year and then this fiscal year, or maybe just 2 fiscal years back. Whatever's duplicatable and easy.
Okay.
Just because it would be nice to like take a look at the trends and growth, because trends tend to speak to success as well, and that's going to be easy for us to visually measure it. So,
Perfect.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Next item is the president's report. First of all, on pages 20 and 21 is the quarterly update that Julie sent to the mayor and city council. I think everything here is, very important to note, but I think we did this primarily, we had promised city council that we've updated our financial policy, and this was our way of letting them know that we did that. Next item under the presidential report is on pages 22 and 23. This was, I think, Trustee Bartlett and Julie were discussing some things in regard to the strategic planning, public service, and performance section. I won't read through this. I think we've all seen this before in a previous email, but I wanted to point it out here. That I think this was a healthy discussion to start out, and I think it will lead us further in the near future.
Perfect.
Next item, pages 24. Governor Whitmore's announces a summer reading trip, partners with public libraries to keep students reading all summer. I think this is great that we're getting support from our governor to highlight the importance of reading, highlight the importance of libraries, and I think that's a great thing to see. Want to pull up some of our test scores and encourage people to read, and this is not the only thing, but a very important thing in that process. Likewise, in the next.
I think you've
I have a question
Sure.
about this.
Okay.
Does the state of Michigan do this every year, announce a summer? So this is like in addition to the current summer reading program?
Correct.
So you really have 2 complete programs going
Right.
on.
The little bit of frustration, if I can share, is that the governor never reached out to the Library of Michigan when she put the program together, and just sent it out without including libraries. So that was a little disappointing, I will share. Also, on page 26, the highlighted yellow that I gave you, those are her literacy initiatives without any mention of public libraries. So I really brought it for you because this is important. This is great information. This is a step in the right direction with literacy and education, and I love that this is becoming, a platform. I think maybe our educators might agree, but I'll just use my opinion. But I'm disappointed that over 300 public libraries weren't engaged. Our Library of Michigan wasn't engaged, and our Michigan Library Association. So there is a little bit of a disconnect. And we're under the Department of Education, and so I hope, and that was one of the conversations that actually came up when I attended the Intellectual Freedom Summit, was that, how do we bridge some of those gaps that seem to be happening with telling libraries, their story and what can be happening and the challenges with libraries, but also we're not being seen, a little bit. And I think it would have been great if she would have reached out, because we would have actually taken her campaign and made it big campaign with her.
That would have been great.
It would have been great, and I bet you there would have been cost savings. So, this is why I shared it with you. I think for you to be aware that there's great work being done, but we've got some work to do where we could give our voice a little bit and say, oh, you're missing a component, and I'm part of that component. I'm doing that. I'm advocating now. I feel strong about some of the things that I would like to see us doing more of as a public library in our role. And I've challenged my staff with it not being mentioned here, that we're going to step up and do some things so that we hit some of these markers in here and make sure that if we were ever asked, we've got information and we've got a yes, we do. So that's why I share it with you. I do think she's got a great path, that she has purpose to what she's doing, and I am excited about it. But I was disappointed in the miss.
So, does the MLA have any connection with the government of Michigan?
Yes, and we have advocates, and we have, yes. So they're doing it, but it's still, I wish I had an answer for you, Trustee Burke. I really do, because I see the advocacy work being done, and we spend a whole day in Lansing in April, and we meet with our state reps and our senators and stuff, and she actually was the keynote this year.
I was going to ask about that
And then
advocacy
this came
day.
out,
Yeah.
and there was a disconnect. So, again, I'm really excited that this is here, but it would be helpful, again, and that's why I'm giving it to you, that if we start planting seeds, and I know she is going to be leaving us, but I would hope that whoever's coming in might have, might take on some of this and roll with it, that they understand where our role is and where we can be very helpful in these initiatives and be part of this. Just my 2 cents. Sorry, I get a little passionate about this because I'm like, oh no. When I read it, I was just like, oh no, where are we? And we are there. Mark, you talk about how much we circulate out of our building. We are there, and our community is using us. People are using us. And somehow there's that disconnect. So just my 2 cents
Did
on
we
it.
get,
Very good comment.
Yeah.
did we get any of the 625 million?
The state aid? Where were you?
Well, it says building on the governor's proposed 625 million investment in
I will have to look into it because, again, we're under the Department of Ed, and I don't know, I mean, we have certain monies that we're getting, and it's already allocated, and the money's good. We didn't lose anything, which is awesome. But I don't even find us here at the table to say, you might not have to spend all this if you would think about some of the things we do that you probably could be sending your students to. And so I just, yeah, that's just a little bit of my thoughts on.
Well, maybe we have a new MLA president, right?
We do, yes, and he's well aware.
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe
We're having some really
Stoke the
great,
coals.
thoughtful conversations that we'd like to work with them on, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so this came out after, and we're like, oh my gosh, we did all this work. We've been planning summer reading since January.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess my question is, because when I read it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like Secretary of Ed. This is not necessarily including us in the conversation.
We're on Department of Ed.
Right, we are.
Yes.
But that's my pondering is, how often does MLA have the chance to have an audience with the Secretary of Ed to bring this stuff forward? I think that that's pretty important, right? Because the secretaries are the ones that drive policy, and they kind of did it in a vacuum. I think they were really concentrating on K-12. That was like the hot topic.
Which is who we serve.
Exactly. But then
I mean,
they were
yeah.
a little bit myopic with
Right.
it, right?
Totally.
So we have to figure out going forward with whatever administration comes next, how to make sure that that advocacy reaches.
Yeah. I love this. I hope it doesn't go away. I think
Yeah,
she
this is
has-
great,
Yeah, I think
but-
she has put a great foundation for what needs to be looked at.
But especially if libraries are going to do cost savings for the state, which is essentially cost savings for taxpayers, bring us to the table.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, at least from the MLA and the Library of Michigan, they are at the tables and they are doing it. There's just a little, I think we're really small, and I understand that, we always are, but somehow there's just a disconnect, and so we're working on it. I want you to know from where I sit and what I went to in early June, this was a hot topic. And then this came out after, and we were like, what? So we keep plugging along, and we keep saying things, and we keep mentioning it. If you see me once in a while, I mean, I'm on Facebook, but it's usually for, things of inspiration, things with my family. But you will see me once in a while post where I'm like,
I love
hey, you forgot a really big
Yeah.
group of people, and it is important, so.
I think because of in the city, we have that environment where we do have really good partnerships happening between us, the school,
Yeah.
city government. So I think whatever framework the state put out, I know that you and the school district will work to make what's best for our community.
Yeah.
You'll take it to another level,
We
I'm
will,
sure.
because I appreciate her giving this to us, because for me, I look at that and say, okay, how do I adapt and work this so that Novi Public Library is doing this or meeting some of these needs? But again, I wanted you to also see it from this level up here where there was a missed opportunity. And if you have the opportunity to be talking with people that might make a difference, or you feel comfortable making a call, you've got the information right here, because there is no mention of what you sit on.
Sure.
That you can just say, help me understand why there was no mention of 2 words.
Yeah.
Public library.
Have you gotten the perspective from our superintendent yet?
I have not.
Okay.
No. I wanted to first bring it to you because I
Okay.
think it's important for you to start. But it is a little bit of a passion for me right at this point, if you can tell, because I'm like, whoa, we have worked hard.
Well, I mean, just my opinion, but the state's been getting a little criticism because of low scores in school. And I think this is, in some of the test scores, they're kind of low relative to other states. And I think this is a reaction to that. And so therefore, it was maybe geared towards the schools. But then the caption talks about partnering with public libraries. That didn't happen.
Yeah. And do you know how many tutors and that kind of work is happening in our building on a daily basis?
Right, yeah.
Or the hub we provide for students who come over after school just to study. So it's there. Do you know what I mean? And more could be done if we could just get a toe in the door.
I think eventually.
I'll take a toe.
I'll take a toe. Pinky
You don't want to get your whole foot in there?
I'll take a toe, but then I will get it in there. But yeah.
I think eventually, once you do have that dialogue with the school about this initiative, I bet both of you will come up with something. And it would probably be really good to talk about it. I know our superintendent has a podcast. Does he still have that?
Yes.
You guys should talk about this, because I think people need to be educated and understand this. Most people don't see this.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Which is why I'm bringing it to you, because I think it's important for you to just see it, right? And be aware. I love that this all came out. This is really great information, and kudos to her, really. I was so excited. Actually, I get the title, and I get it in my email, and I'm like, oh, right? And I'm reading. Okay, where's public libraries? Where are we?
Very good point.
So, Yes, but thank you.
Moving on to next item, which would be, which I now believe no longer has to be the draft board committee assignments.
I took the word draft off it, if you
Because
noticed.
finally, we have a new board member. Unfortunately, Mr. Chuck, couldn't be here tonight, but with his approval by council, I think he's sworn in. I don't know if he's had your training or not yet, Julie. But I was able to complete the committee assignments, and Larry got most of the blank ones that weren't filled. I made one change, and that was I decided, because Larry is a CPA, that I would go off the finance committee and go on the human resources committee, because Larry would appropriately fit on the finance committee. So I'm moving away from some friends to some other friends.
There you go.
Thank you.
If there's any questions on that, and I haven't heard any complaints from anybody else as to the positions that they're on, so I didn't readjust anybody else. Now it's up to that time where we wish Kathy was here to reflect upon what's happened, because she would enlighten us with a lot of things that have happened and a lot of things that are coming up. But I open it up to the board for their reflections in terms of things they've done in the last month or are coming up that we're sharing with the board.
Well, Trustee Bartlett and I and Trustee Helvangus attended the first Thursday night concert
Magic Bus.
at Magic Bus. It was very crowded. People were sitting in chairs brought their own chairs everywhere. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Highest numbers for our first one.
Great.
It's getting
320.
It's
Wow,
becoming,
great.
it's becoming an institution.
Yes.
It's very popular.
Yes.
Yes.
It's becoming-
And I think the bands are, Magic Bus
Has
is a
its own
given.
following.
Yeah, they have their own following.
But
Yeah,
I
right.
was talking
Exactly.
to another person their band is coming, and their band is performing, and they're bringing a lot of people.
That's awesome. Which one is it? Are you allowed to say? Which one?
It's the
Which one
play
did
it
you have
again, or do it
Okay.
again.
Okay.
Nice.
I think Brick Leader's
Well,
the
that's-
next one coming up.
Yeah.
Yes, that was good. It is David Landry and Julie Red Band.
Oh,
July
gotcha.
23rd.
Okay, that's exciting.
Yes.
Good.
Next week is Rick Leader. That's really good. Great. Actually, they're all great.
Yes.
Any other comments? Cory?
Yep, so Trustee Helvangus and I went to the Friends of the Library annual meeting last night, which was wonderful to be there and hear all their accomplishments this past year. We all know how supportive the Friends are to us with all the different things that they do, with raising for funds for programs and services, ways to support our staff. They're really instrumental with the 65th anniversary event. We got a nice little check, a nice big check that we got yesterday, which I know will be presented to us in our August meeting.
Yes.
We got so their budget was approved, their wish list was approved, which includes the infamous bench. Yep, so that's exciting to have that. One thing that I did that I really pulled away from was that out of their budget, $94,000 went towards programs and initiatives that supported the library directly.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just this past year,
Yes.
25, 26.
Yes.
Impressive.
And a huge thank you to Sue Johnson.
Yep.
She's been our president for many years and is a fabulous leader, and the board that she has cultivated and
They're great.
kept.
Yeah.
They are fantastic. We actually had a new member stop in last night, so maybe there, might be a new one.
They're
and
getting new members.
we have a couple
maybe?
more, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
I know that Sue eventually is looking, down the road, but I think she'll stay for a couple more years,
She
but
said
yes.
4 yesterday, so.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
So we'll hold her to it, right,
She's
Tori?
amazing.
I know I will.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's truly, they are just wonderful. Yeah, and we'll have a recap for you in the August meeting, and Sue will come to the meeting, as well as the Historical Commission. Both of them will present at the August meeting. Yeah.
I do have a little bit of tea So two things. When we promoted the single user spaces, I saw some of the comments online, but I've also been talking to residents in and out of Novi. And all of them are so impressed that we have that type of space because not a lot of libraries have that yet. I've seen it in corporate world, like for co-working or whatever, but it's just another added benefit to help people have like a space to get tucked away and do their work or, you know, just read, whatever. Some Northville residents were very jealous, actually. And then the other thing is, it sounds like Northville, so I don't know if you've heard anything, but Northville might be looking at a bigger space. That's just hearsay.
I have heard that as
I've
well.
heard rumblings.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard if it's official or
I
not.
don't either, but I have heard that.
Yeah, so they're kind of looking at possibly trying to expand because they're like right downtown, and they've been there forever and ever.
They have a lot of property next to them, though.
Yeah,
It's not theirs.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It's not.
They are literally landlocked.
Yeah, they're
Right?
they're
That
like
parking
there.
lot isn't even theirs.
Yeah,
It's not owned by them.
yeah. So I don't know, for the board to kind of keep your ears to the ground and kind of hear, just because they're our neighbor city and anything we can do to like advise or help. I don't know if they want to talk to Rethinking Libraries, but maybe that could be something for them. I don't know. Also, I know that because they're not in the same network as us anymore, there are residents that keep asking, like, how does it impact their ability to use our library and things like that. And I didn't have the best articulate response, so.
We are putting their cards into our system,
Okay,
and we're giving them, you know what, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Why don't I bring back some of that
Thank you.
information?
Yeah. I feel like that conversation keeps popping up here
Sure.
and there.
I will bring back the Northville.
Yeah. Because when we looked at the data too, in the survey, a huge chunk said that they were coming from Northville, larger than I thought. So I was like, whoa, they have a Northville taxes or whatever.
So I will.
Okay.
I'll bring that information back to you.
Okay.
We made a very nice and thoughtful exchange of how their patrons, plus ours, so
Yeah.
that ours can go over as well.
Exactly.
And get materials. I don't want to quote, I want to say like maybe 25 materials they can check out from
Yeah.
us at one time, but I will.
Just
I'll
bring
you
that
the
back.
details.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been a while.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So
So it's interesting that you are getting a little bit of,
is Northville not in TLN or just not in our shared catalog?
they're not in the shared catalog
Okay.
anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still a TLN member, but
Okay.
not in the shared catalog, but that's hard.
Right.
Because they only have their collection.
Yep.
Right? And so they can't see where other things are anymore. And when they do, when they want to place a hold and get something that they don't own, it's now through Melcat.
And not the TLN system. So it takes a little longer and
Right.
it can come from other parts of the actual state itself to do that, but yeah.
I can add to this discussion a little bit.
Sure.
Laura Casey asked me to talk with a trustee
Oh,
from
okay.
Northville. And they can confirm that they are trying to add to their space. They're trying to add to their space right where they're at.
Okay,
Somewhat complicated because they don't own all the land.
Right.
But there's the city and there's the township and stuff like that. So they are in the preliminary discussions of how do we expand.
right, yeah. Mhm. That's pretty good, yeah.
How big is their library compared to?
Probably about
ours?
30,000, 25 or 30,000.
about
It's not
half.
very large.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's about half the size.
About half the size of this one, yeah. So, and they really, it's tough to expand where they're at.
Right.
But I think that has been the focus at this point.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
But they're getting a lot of cooperation from the city and from the township, that even though they don't own all the land, I think they're gonna work something out.
Okay, yeah.
And especially with downtown Northville
Mm-hmm.
exploding in new.
Yes.
Yes.
New development
The
and stuff like
development.
that, it would be very convenient if it's there. They've looked at other spots, and that seems to be the focus.
They have a very good director that has a lot of experience when it comes to bringing those types of services and even building opportunities for them. So that's great. Yeah.
I think it's great for them.
But I know that that's been always a concern, is that they're landlocked and they really
They
can't.
didn't quite have the expansion space, that would have
Yeah.
made it easier.
Right. Yeah. We still have our patio if we really wanted to bump out. I always just think of that. We can still go a little
Like we
west.
build a Four Seasons
Right.
extension.
We could just take that wall out, Mark.
Oh, and then we could do a balcony.
It could be an upper balcony with the sun.
Yes.
And I see Adirondack chairs, big ones and little ones. Just, sorry, but,
And I see a mobile Starbucks out there too.
oh.
That might be after the 10 years.
But that's where the play area could be, with the glass on the, sorry, just.
Any other reflections?
Julie's been reflecting enough tonight.
We'll close the reflection
It's
section.
the end of the year.
Treasurer's report, Treasurer Bartlett.
Nothing other than that we are awaiting some final receipts. That was noted earlier, for the fiscal year. You'll also see starting in 26, 27, there is the expenditure that has been added for the main entrance, which, is representative of the budget hit that we take in 272 in the first quarter. With the new people, are we still looking at, September or October for?
No, we're September, and we're on
Okay,
target
so it
for
would be
everything.
September would be our audited financials.
Yes.
To report for the fiscal year.
Believe they said the mid-September is what I'm hearing for the audit.
So it might be our October meeting.
Right.
Okay.
And the doors?
And the doors are still on target for September as well.
For September.
I'm waiting to hear, they placed the order for the actual doors themselves, and as soon as we get confirmation for when they'll be delivered, we can then lock into the actual work being done and when. Yeah. We will be having the parking lot maintained a little bit during our Labor Day weekend. Just a heads up to all of you, so the actual returns will not be open at all that weekend so that we can get that work done. And we'll make sure that we communicate that out in advance, but no one will be able to get into the parking lot that whole weekend so the work can be done.
I'm looking for something here so I can work with the exact number. Give me a second. I'm going to ask the treasurer. Now that we kind of have moved some money a little bit back and forth between the 272 and the 271 account, am I correct that as of June 30th, 2026, and acknowledging there may still come some bills in for that period, that we had net revenues of $14,445. Now, we got a
I'm sorry, what page?
page 42.
Thank
For
you.
Fund 271, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
About the third or fourth line, net revenues and expenditures at year-to-date balance 6/30, 14,445, which is a positive number, but we transferred about 250,000 from the 272 account into there to make that a positive number.
Correct.
So we kind of, last year was about a 265,000 negative number if we don't consider the transfer.
If we don't consider the transfer.
Okay,
You are
okay, so-
correct.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I just wanted to make sure I was reading it correctly.
Yep.
Any other questions for our treasurer? If not, we're going to turn it over to our director. Show's yours, Julie.
Okay, I'll be quick, because I know I've been talking. But I never want to forget our staff. So August anniversaries are coming up, and years of service. Mary Ann Zermulin, who is our Assistant Director of Building Operations, she will be celebrating 16 years. Elizabeth Kopko, 16 years. She's from our Support Services Department and is a supervisor. Kirsten Malzahn, 9 years. She is a librarian with Information Services, specifically with our youth. Danielle Major, 6 years, Information Services librarian and in our youth department. Austin Weberly, 5 years, Information Services,
mostly teen and adult for the most part. You did not get a picture of Andrew Van Boven. He is 5 years support services. He is one of our shelvers. And then Denise Woods, 3 years, information technology. She is our admin assistant, working really hard with lots of hardware and software with Jeff Smith. And Lori Lowry, who you had a chance to meet with tonight, is celebrating 2 years already. I remember when I hired her, I don't know how, it's so fast. And she's our Assistant Director of Public Service, and she has taken on, the strategic planning and the customer service, working with the IS department, knowing that they've had those shortages, and which I have good news for all of you, that those positions have been filled, and we're waiting to get, we have one that has actually started, and we're waiting on 2 more that will be starting, one midsummer and one towards the end of summer, just based on relocation. So we are moving forward and doing very well with that. Then I wanted to just point out on page 47, this was one of our highest numbers of sponsors for summer reading this year, and I want to just take a moment to recognize MSU Federal Credit Union, Novi Rotary, Orsa Credit Union, the Goddard School of Novi, Vibe Credit Union, Friends of Novi Library, Diversified Members Credit Union, Michigan State Fair, Cloud Boba, Clawsome, and T-Fiber. So yeah, we had a wonderful response from people being interested in wanting to support summer reading this year, in many different capacities. Some giving us monetary, some giving us coupons that the kids can receive as they get to levels of reading. So it's been great. Yes. And then we did receive a gift from the Friends as part of their wish list. It wasn't originally on the wish list, and we had some money left over. And so I went to Sue and I said, any chance we can put a picnic table out by our staff area? And they did it for us. So
Great.
it got installed last week. We had to put in a small concrete pad. We also did some sidewalk concrete that had to be improved anyway, so got some other work done at the same time. Below that, some information that I provided about Lakeshore Library, but you saw today it's back up and running. So we are good to go, and hopefully, yes,
Sorry.
Nope.
Hopefully.
we won't have any problems coming up, but
So the reason I wondered how much this was going to cost was because if we're looking at a $20,000 a year maintenance contract with them,
yep,
that's why I wanted to be
that'll
able.
be part of budget for us to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I wondered how much this would have cost, so that we
Yes.
can decide whether, because $20,000 seems like a lot, but then
Right.
I don't know how much this costs.
Correct.
You get my,
Exactly.
Yes.
that was my point.
Sarah Momini from Support Services is actually working on getting you that information. I haven't seen it yet,
Okay.
but yes.
Okay.
I said, can you try and get what those costs would be if we had to pay, the labor and the actual
Great.
materials, so.
I would probably expand that discussion a little bit. And I mean, that's a specific cost for that item, but probably some of the other maintenance contracts as well, in terms of reviewing them, in terms of what we pay for them versus the likelihood of just, occasionally having a bill.
Right. How long have we had the Lakeshore Lending Library?
5 years.
5 years, and have we had any problems with it other than this
Yes.
major one?
We've had, usually once a year, there's something.
Okay.
In the very beginning, we had many months of problems, and that was because the system had sat, and because of COVID, we couldn't install it when it was supposed to be installed. So when it sits in a warehouse like that and doesn't get moving, and so they actually didn't honor our contract. It was installed in May, but they didn't honor our contract and start it until October, until we made sure that all the bugs and everything were
Nice.
definitely, resolved before we
Okay.
went in and not had any problems before we started that actual contract.
Is that then generally $20,000 a year for maintenance of the contract? I mean, is that what?
Well, no, it hasn't, because it's been under based on when we first purchased. This is now coming into it not being under.
Under warranty stuff.
No more warranty.
It was, well, the warranty was part of, yes, in
Yeah.
purchase and everything. We folded that all in
Right.
when we first bought it. And so now we're coming out of that, and what will those costs be to maintain year after year? The life of it is about 20, and, we're 5, so Yeah.
Do they have like a roadmap on upgrades and updates and things like that? Do they have that?
They do.
Okay.
What was a little frustrating when I was at Public Library Association, because I met with them, was they're like, oh, you're gonna need a new system.
When?
And I'm like, what do you mean we're gonna, yeah. So that's why I've been talking with them about maintaining it. I go, I'm not, and the costs have gone up astronomically
I'm sure.
because of COVID.
Yeah.
When we purchased ours, we were locked in actually for about 2 years before we actually installed it. And so we got that machine for a steal compared to.
Do you remember how much?
I do, but I'm not gonna give that out because of what other libraries, I'll send it to you, but because of what other libraries
Are-
pay
what
now,
the current cost of one of those machines would be?
almost 200,000.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but
Yeah.
over the next 15 years at 20,000 a year, that's 300,000. So.
Yeah.
But this is
No.
a budget.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. That's a good
We should
You're-
put this
you're-
off to budget.
You have great
Good,
valid
good.
questions. I'll
Yeah.
write them down and I'll start working on things if that's what you're looking for is, big contracts and stuff, because I'll start preparing that for budget
Yeah.
time so that I am not caught off guard. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
No,
I
that
can
makes,
start
that's
preparing
where
that.
my brain's going.
Sure.
That's
Totally,
right.
yeah, and that's why I made sure that it was it was a placeholder for you in future budgets on the actual budget documents, that I knew that was coming. And that would be worth a conversation. Are we going to enter into a contract with them, or are we gonna see that we're just gonna roll the dice and do maintenance, and pay for that maintenance and pay for any costs if we have a problem? That's,
And another question would be, let's say we don't do it, can 5 years down the road, can we then go into a maintenance contract?
it'll be greater.
Well, so we're locked in
The-
at 20 grand for 15 years?
It'll be, yeah, the costs will be locked in, correct. And those costs do go up annually if you don't lock into something in some kind of years.
Okay.
That's how they do this.
Of course.
They're like
Of course.
subscriptions, you know what I
Yep.
mean? They're,
Yeah.
yeah.
My comment
I know.
in general, and you've probably heard this before,
Yeah.
is the companies that sell the service contracts makes as much money on the service contracts as they do on the equipment themselves.
Yep.
Sure.
And I agree with you. So that's why that's why no decisions and, with the cost of it anyways, I'd have to come to you and say, hey, this is $20,000, we've got to have a conversation about, are we going to do this, or kind of, roll the dice a little bit and just see what kind of maintenance it is and what those costs are.
And this is proprietary, right? Nobody else, they don't have any competitors, or do they have
No, they
competitors?
do, but for the most part, in terms of the types of system that we want, and it's hard, you won't be able to get a different company to service this. So you're locked into that company and what they have available based on their parts and stuff.
Okay.
And I mean, sometimes you think if you get a service contract, you get immediate service,
Right,
and I don't think we quite experienced that this time.
we did not, no.
I mean, almost like just a general, when you get around to it.
Yeah.
Right, well, the problem was the holiday
Yeah, I
literally
understand.
fell with it, so I do want to give them a little bit of grace, but you are correct. I mean, they're not in Michigan either. We have to work through them to then get their service person into Michigan. They're in Ohio, but they've got to get up here and, appointments and stuff. So it's not someone down the road like some of our vendors are.
Well, with the 20,000, I think we need to really ferret out what we get as far as a service level agreement with
Right.
them. In other words, what kind of response can we expect?
Right.
What kind of regular maintenance items are included in that 20,000?
Yes.
What are not included in that 20,000? So
Yeah.
that, when we sit down, then a year from now, and say, okay, we spent the 20,000, you met the service level agreement requirements, you didn't meet them, what's wrong? So we have some kind of basis that we can,
Measure,
through
yeah.
these types of things to negotiate through. Because anybody that does an annual agreement has some kind of level of an agreement that says, this is what you get for your 20,000.
Correct.
And I would expect that we would have, if we're paying 20,000, they got their guy in Ohio, he may have a machine next door that's on regular maintenance, but we should have priority because we're spending the money on an annual basis.
Right.
Those sorts of things,
I think there needs to be a lot of due diligence with
Yeah.
this. What what have we had done in the past,
Sure.
So not talking about maintenance, but on Lending Library, based off of your comments about you meeting with them, and them suggesting that we would need a new machine for things, if we wanted to expand some of the different offers, like services, like I know when we first proposed the Lending Library kiosk, we talked about different things that we could bring up to the machine, like at first we talked about the library card dispenser.
Right.
Maybe doing holds up there.
Correct.
So at this point, are we like not able to do those kind of things because it's?
No, we are.
Okay,
We can do that.
okay,
They don't offer the library card dispenser. They
Right,
changed
yeah.
it. That was in development, and then
Yeah.
they decided no. So that's off the table. Reconfiguring and looking at holds is an option. What I would first like to do, which I've started some preliminary conversations with staff, is to make it more like a lucky day first, though, before we turn it into just a hold compartment for the north end, or offer so many holds. But we have that capability and can do it.
okay. Just
So, yeah.
because the two biggest things I hear from the North End residents is hold
Yes.
and returning materials.
Yes.
That are not specific to the kiosk.
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
Oh, so if you get a book from the library, you can't return it to the lending library?
Right. We don't encourage it because those bins will fill up then faster than what we right now currently go out and do based on staffing.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's holding it, and if they just return what's there, that works out with not having to make multiple visits and stuff. And doing holds will change staffing significantly, which is why I haven't gone there. When you do holds, you're going out there more often in order to drop them off and make sure that you've got people to pick them up, and it could be, and we're only doing once a week. So, and it's worked. I mean, it gets filled. We make sure that, so many items are filled each week. It's never been emptied, things like that. We have the capability to remote in, see what's going on with the machine. So it's very intuitive, similar to the automated material handling system. But yeah, that would change staffing a little bit. We haven't really been there for that either.
Right.
Is that handled by support staff?
Yes, it is.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Going forward, page 48, obviously you know about the goal. I shouted that out to you a while ago when we did get that final donation. I want to go on camera and say we will continue to accept, and we'll be very willing and happy to have additional donations come in, because whatever comes in beyond that, we'll make sure that we'll make bells and whistles to that youth area and make sure it's a great project. But we did reach the goal. I'm very excited. I gave myself a year, and we did it in 8 months. And I think that says a lot for our community and the support and the friends and our library lovers. That I had people stop in and say, "I love this library. I'm donating. Thank you so much." I mean, these were the types of things that were said to us when they were making contributions, which was really great. And the person that stopped in that wanted to make that final donation, she wanted to be the last check that was written. I mean, she was adamant and so sweet, and she has a 5-year-old daughter, and they come to the library all the time. And I told her that I will include her in our focus groups, next spring when we start planning what that youth area will look like, because her daughter will be still a great age to get that. But it was great to make that connection as well. Couple things that,
I did want to ask you.
Sure.
Do you want to say the company name on?
Yep, it is donated by GZ International LLC, which goes by GZ Next. So, yeah, that is the company that made the final donation.
Oh, I had another question.
Sure.
I stumbled across something online about the Plymouth Library's new
Youth area?
youth area in downtown Plymouth, not like at a library per se, but it was a library facility, and I was blown away. And then,
Well, they redid their downtown library.
Okay,
They just
but
did a renovation of it.
that must have been
Okay, yeah, 'cause I
what
was
it
like, I
was,
think
the
they just
youth
have a
area,
one.
the dinosaur
Yeah, that's,
thing.
yeah.
And then the South Lyon Township? Or
Lyon Township.
Saw theirs, so
Yep.
we gotta Step it up, sister.
No pressure.
Okay. Been talking this a while.
I couldn't understand, what.
Call it a budget. I'll understand it.
You were saying that it was gonna cost this, that, and the other, and I'm like, wow, now I see.
Yeah, can't do anything without money. So,
So
yeah, and we couldn't have
anybody
done
out
it with
there-
our current money, so.
Yeah, if they want to add to the 65K, then we can step it up, sister.
Yeah. We've been waiting and planning, and I've been wanting to, I gotta tell you, there's some libraries that are, the same class as us. They've done their youth area 3 times over already.
I know what I was gonna ask you. Did a question regarding the youth area, was that on the patron survey at all?
No, because I want that to be completely different.
Okay.
Yeah. I want
That's
that
what
to
I
be,
wanted
I
to
want to
ask.
reach out specifically to families with those age groups and invite them to different timed focus groups and stuff, which we'll have to do to
Okay.
see what is it that they need from us. It'll be a big change because you're talking 16 years. And the only thing that I have shared with you is I do think we need a larger space, which is probably the blowout of that one wall where the storytime room is and the activity area to create a bigger room. Other than that, I don't have any other vision, but I do believe that having a bigger room like that will be very beneficial to us if we can do that. And when I got the preliminary quotes, that was what I told them, just so that we had that in mind. Yeah. We need, our storytime programs are in the large meeting room right now. So, yes, they're so big and they're so popular. And so
Which is
we,
awesome.
and in terms of safety, I don't want the kids near the front door. I want them back in the department and where the collections are and stuff. It really does make sense. Plus, we use, in the great, weather that we have spring through fall, we use those doors to go out in the patio and do that kind of programming as well with our young users too. So that's the only thing that I would champion, is that we gain that larger space somehow. But then whatever else comes out, I need to hear. I'm not a mom of young children anymore, and I don't want to pretend that I know everything that they need, and so it'll be good to get that feedback. So your little kiddos will be helpful.
Yes.
Just a couple things that are new, our new language learning resource. We changed to a new platform called LinkQ, which is for language learning. My staff found it more intuitive, easier, but also more that's part of it, podcasts, videos, things like that. So we're starting that, and have gone away with our old system, which is Pronunciator. And then we introduced our youth launch pads, and so those are really cool tablets for ages 3 and up, bringing in a little bit of technology in a different way. I'm happy to entertain any other questions if you have any.
For LinkQ, Julie?
What?
For LinkQ, the new
Yes.
language platform, is that for all ages? So like a youth library card holder can access it, or is it just for
No, I do
adults?
believe it is, but
Okay.
I will just double check for
Okay,
you, but I
thank
do
you.
believe it is.
Just because I think our middle schoolers, I'm close to that, just because I have one in our middle
You
school.
got it.
But they're learning different languages, and the question was posed to me, how can I access stuff in the summer? And I'm like, well, our library has stuff.
Yes.
But then
So
I
I'll
wasn't
double
sure.
check for you and get that age.
Okay, thank you.
Got it. That's about it. I am keeping Songfest in there because I know it's important to you. I appreciate all of you that do come out for that. Great support of our friends. On page 77, you have at the top box, which is Recite Me, and the statistics that are there. This is an updated sheet that I gave you tonight that would go in place of it. And I talked to Dana, she is the one that pulls those statistics, and they went to a new platform, Recite Me did, as of April. And so the numbers are different because, and Dana's still working with them on monitoring and getting
the right numbers, but she thinks April, May, June, what they're showing is correct now. We were having an issue with getting bots, and so they've weeded that out. And what bots are online fake hits. And so they realized that we were getting that, and so they're cleaning it up and watching the numbers too. So some of the numbers above,
Who's they, Recite Me?
yes,
Got
recite me,
it.
yes, thank you. Some of the numbers above, if you can see, they're showing like they're a little bit better consistency, but, you know, I had a question for her. When you look at, March was before they changed the platform, and there were 0 people who had used translation. That seemed really odd. So she's still following up with that, and I'll let you know if anything more comes from that.
One thing to quickly note for Dana and you, Julie. So right now, when it comes to web traffic, it's not just bots, but about 80 to 85% is now agentic AI. Because these platforms like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, they're trying to catch up to Google. Google's been indexing for decades.
Right.
So what we've noticed in our industry is that that's about where they're at now. It's like most of our traffic is or could be construed as bots, where it's actually agentic AI crawlers. I don't know, because we're on MuniWeb, like if we're accessible to these things, because it's a government-oriented website.
Right.
But that's kind of, whether we like it or not, it is something that is how people find information now. So if we're not crawlable, if we're not putting content out there that's optimized to be found, and that kind of goes into search engine optimization territory. And I know I'm using a lot of weird language for
yeah.
everybody, but that's the reality. So if people need to find our services or have questions, sometimes they don't go to the website anymore. They just go to these platforms.
Right.
So that's just something for you and Dana to be aware, that some of those bots might not be spam bots, but they might be agentic AI.
Okay.
Just for that sake of conversation.
I will touch base with her on that. And why don't we make that a topic?
At a
just
meeting?
in August, yeah, for
Yeah.
events, marketing, and fundraising, just so that we can circle back.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, happy to do that.
I do have a question. On page 49,
Sure.
you mentioned that you attended, and I only asked because a couple other people did as well, a Library Finance 101 staff training for
I
budget?
held them. They were mine.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Can you tell us what that was all
Sure.
about?
I gave them the 101 of finance in terms of, you know, where we are with our budget, what we're starting with, explaining a little bit of the categories, explaining what 271 is versus 272. They do, they do a lot of purchasing and lots of different people in the building, so I want to make sure that they know their account numbers when they're assigning that to their invoices. They ask for reports from Bindia, so we want to make sure that if they're asking that, you know, what's the time frame so that we can meet their needs, the staff. I'd be happy to share with you the actual document that kind of is the Bible for them of what to follow. When invoices are due, what we require when you are working with a vendor and you've got to have a check cut. We need a W-9, we need our contract, you know. And every time we get new people, these are all things that if they're working with a vendor or, you know, setting up a program,
Sure.
they'd have to know all that. So Bindi and I started, I think this is our 3rd year, where as we get close to the new budget, you know, let's give you a little overview of everything
Oh,
you
okay.
should need to know, and how to get information and where, if you are working and purchasing and part of some of the budgeting that's
Okay,
going on.
cool.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
So a huge thank you to Bindia, because her and I tag teamed it, and she even hosted her own honor for her first on her own this year. So, yeah, it was great. But it allows us to open up some questions with the staff, and if there's things they don't understand or don't know. Sometimes they don't understand the general account versus the 272 account, how we use that account. I shared your new financial policy with them because it includes the reserve, and explained that, we're gonna be putting money aside for the reserve as well. So I'm trying to just keep them transparent in what we're doing too, because it affects them.
I had a question on page 65.
Sure.
I don't know, maybe 2/3 of the way down. In Sarah's report, she worked with Linksos to adjust the settings on the machine for closures and patron induction.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering, did that have to do with the closure where we weren't able to maximize, so now
Correct, and now
the
we're,
carousel
yes,
is going to
yes,
work?
Yes.
Great.
Trying new ways to, maximize it.
Perfect. And then the other part was about the patron induction, because there were quite a few comments about that. Is that something that is able to be adjusted? Not so much. Okay.
So
Okay.
we're going to look at some, one of the things that came up is the button, and they're not
Right.
understanding that, so we need to label a couple things,
Yes.
press here, and we'll be
Yes.
looking at some things to do, but it
Okay,
can't
but
be
it can't
adjusted.
really be adjusted
And
height-wise or anything.
That's cars too.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
there's a standard size for it to go in.
Yeah.
And we know, and people are, it's funny, the yellow bollards that we put in, because the shelf, there's now a shelf
Yeah.
that sticks out. So we wouldn't
Right.
want someone to hit that, right, with their
Right.
car. It's no different when they were driving up before, but it's now a visual. So they're
Right.
not getting close enough to the machine.
I see.
Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were before.
Gotcha.
Even though that hasn't changed, but the visual has.
Okay.
So there have been a couple, but I think overall, the few complaints isn't something that warrants, do you know what I mean?
No, I just thought
yeah.
maybe there was an easy fix or something that maybe they could do, but yeah, no.
No,
I-
but we are going to do some signage and stuff to help a little bit.
Great.
I mean, if there's a way that you can put those pointers to help the short arm people like me push the button at the end, that would be helpful.
Yeah, we've looked at a couple things, because I get that I drove through it myself, but I'm in a truck, and that's different than, a car. So we are looking at how we might be able to adjust something, so, yeah. And trying to explain that they're returning at the automated, and don't go too far, because what some people are doing is they're driving too far and they go to the manual, and they gotta go back because the manual's not open. It only opens when we need it to as a backup.
Right.
So, yeah, there's still a learning curve,
Sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's been great.
Yeah, I do too. And overall, some of the negative versus the overall usage of it, yeah, it's been great. Anything else?
On page 54,
Yes.
the square register with a cash drawer and the receipt printer.
Yep.
I assume that's the device that we talked about
It
at
is.
Building and Grounds, where we're having this one machine at the same for both departments.
Yes, and working on then the costs of,
Because that.
Credit
that-
card and
that-
everything,
that would be,
yes, yes.
a slight savings in regard to credit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Jeff is working on that with his team.
okay, good.
Just a question.
Sure.
On page 58 in Lori's report. Just curiosity, because I see that she's covering the info desk as well. Is that
Yes.
normal? Is that something her job description that she covers, or is it just because of the shortage?
It's because of the shortage.
Okay.
Yeah, well, 102 hours. is
Right.
a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and she's great.
Yes.
But it gives her an opportunity to see things, but she's supporting her team, but that wasn't, her main role.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then I'm really surprised on page 66 that we discarded 1,100 items or at least in June. I don't know if that's a normal, I didn't look each month, but that's a normal thing, but I thought that was wow. But, we replaced it with more.
Exactly.
Those items.
Right, and we don't have space for everything.
Yep.
So you gotta, you have to look at, and you wanna keep fresh.
Yep.
We look at usage, and even if we buy a material, but if it sits and it sits too long, we need to get something else there.
What happens to them?
We discard them and weed them out, and we give the friends an opportunity to, put them in the used bookstore, but then we also have thrift books, which is a backup to send they can be
Okay.
sent and then, sold online. The friends also receive that money as well,
Okay,
because they're the ones doing all that processing.
got it.
So it's a good way, I mean, we are not throwing out books. I want to be very clear. We do not throw out books unless they really are deemed damaged and not in good condition. So, yeah. Or we will recycle. So it's not garbage, but it's recycle. So that's the other difference.
A question that I missed earlier in regard to the quarterly update that we gave to council. There was a comment that the library requires a minimum of 3 librarians to work on 2 information desks. Is that 3 in the total library, or is that 3 in each floor?
No, that's 2 full-time and a part-time, 102 hours.
But it's the entire library needs 3, not each floor.
Right, for
Not-
the Sunday, keeping these on.
Oh,
but you need
yeah.
It's in the context of
Yes.
Sunday, yes. Okay, I wasn't quite sure if it was for each
Yeah,
floor or
yeah.
each.
No.
Okay.
And that 2 of those librarians were Sunday librarians that we lost. So that was the impact. We went from 4 to 2 on Sunday when we did the loss. So now we're rescheduling that and
But the 2 that were
reassign-
there were the 2 that always worked on Sundays.
yes, correct, yeah.
So we really had to add 1 additional person besides the 2 that were already there.
No, we lost a part-time person and 2 full-time people, and we filled the same. 2 of them were working on Sunday as part of their schedule.
But we already have 2
We-
Sunday librarians that always work on Sundays.
Yes, we have a total of 4 for Sundays every week is what
Okay,
we
and
try
we
to
need
have.
we need at least 3.
You need at least 3, but,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, no, we need 4. If you go down and you lose 3 and you go down to 1, that's where I was telling you we would not be open if we went down to 2 on a Sunday.
So if someone called in or something.
Yeah.
So 3 is the minimum, but.
Yeah, but 3 is the
Right.
minimum. 3's the minimum.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, 3's the minimum.
yeah,
And we have 2 that were always there on Sundays.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was just my clarification. The other question I had, back more on track where we were talking library usage, page 69. I know the weather is nice in June, so people would probably rather walk in the library than go the drive-by, but the 394 looks like an unusually low number for June.
Oh, the 294?
394 on June of this
Oh,
year.
for the drive-up?
For the
Oh, I
drive-up.
see, right.
Is that a pretty accurate number? I know, like I said, I suspect people want to go into the library when it's nice weather, but even, compared to other nice months, it still seems low.
Yeah, I'll double check with Jeff on that. I actually didn't see that, sorry. Oh.
I mean, you can tell to some degree, in the cold weather, they used to drive up more. They don't want to get out of their car.
Right,
True.
right.
That's true.
Any other questions for our director? If not, thank you very much,
You're
as always,
welcome.
Julie.
Thank you.
Next section, public comment. Anybody want public comment? Okay, I won't repeat my spiel if there's nobody going to rush to the podium. Committee reports. This is a chance for the committees, or the chairs of the committee to address comments to the board. I don't go through them individually, but if you think there's something the board should be aware of and it's not being addressed in a board action later on, now is your chance.
Well, ours is being addressed in the board action,
Okay.
so I'll just wait.
Okay. Prefer it that way. If not, I hear no comments from anybody. We'll move into matters for library board action. The first one is the policy committee approved the second draft of the circulation policy. I believe this is an action item, so I will entertain a motion initially before we start discussing.
Motion to approve?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the second draft of the circulation policy. And now for the discussion. I assume there will be some.
Yes. Did you understand what I meant in my email? Oh, I don't remember. Okay, well, when we met, either in the policy meeting or last month's board packet, we had made a recommendation on what the verbiage should be regarding replacement fee being returned. But it seems like the verbiage that we end up with isn't what we requested.
So what I had a note from was to go back, you had made these recommendations with this information, but I had a note reminding me that I was going to check with Sarah from Support Services, just to double check that the language really worked with how they relay that message to the patrons. And so, and that's why I noted her name. I met with her at the top. And we met on the 1st of July. So I had her look at it again because your recommendation still didn't work for her and the staff. It felt uncomfortable. And so she gave me language that, and I said, well, let's try to write tight and more specific and be more direct in what you're trying to say. And so she gave us new language she hoped that could be considered, because this is how they do the process. So so it's when an overdue material is returned with a status of lost and billed on a patron's account, the item is removed from the patron's account and the fee is waived when they return it. That's just a given.
Yeah,
Okay?
that part's fine.
Yep. If a replacement fee has been paid, so that means it's gone farther than that
Right.
in the
It's
system.
considered
And
lost.
someone's come in and paid for it, a refund will not be issued at that point. We don't want to do that, because a number of things can happen. We took out the language about remove the patron and with the replacement cost of the item. We took out some of that language because I don't want it to talk about the item. Does that make sense? I don't want it to relate to that. We put the replacement fee, if a replacement fee has been paid for a lost item, a refund will not be issued. The item once paid is property of the patron and cannot be returned. Because we've had problems where the patron, even though they paid a replacement fee, they're coming back going, oh, I found it, I want my money back. Well, a number of things at that point can happen. We might have already replaced it. And so we don't want, the truth is, you own it. You paid for it, you own it. That's it. We just want to make it very simple.
But we agreed that we would waive the fee or return the fee so long as the material had not been ordered.
Right, but I don't think that's right, because we don't know always when our ordering process is gonna happen. That can take some time. I don't wanna get stuck with, if they pay for it, we've accepted the money, they pay for it, it's theirs. We don't need to tell them, and we don't need to get into when we're reordering, or what we're reordering, or anything like that. They still owe us money for the material, and how we decide to make the choice of what that material is next, or whatever we move to, is what we decide to replace it with, or what we build the collection with.
Well, it sounds like we are creating the policy for a system that already exists rather than the system following a policy that we are creating.
So I'm trying to understand that way.
It sounds like this is the way you do it, so let's write the policy to be how we do it, rather than what a couple of members of the board wanted it to say.
Okay, but.
So I'd like some other board members' input.
Sure. I guess we're trying to avoid what we are dealing with the public, with the patrons, and having to then refund something that we don't feel we should refund if they've already paid for the replacement.
But I think the board,
I understand that, but this does not change the public's perception at all. Because as I understood the original problem, I come in and I said, well, I found this item, I want my money back. And we just say, well, it's not our policy to give you your money back. That leaves the customer not feeling very good about things. One of the things that we had said in the policy of why we put the change in is so that when the customer comes in and says, I want my money back, you can say, well, I'm going to have to check to see if that item has been reordered or not. Because if it's been reordered, we can't refund your money, sir, but we will check on that. And maybe you call them down the road and so forth, but the customer isn't upset with the person up front. They get even if this policy is what's behind things, the customer gets the impression that somebody tried and they have a better feeling for what went on in the transaction. If the customer comes in and says, geez, I found this, it's, my kid had it in a backpack, I didn't realize it was there, whatever their excuse is, whether they paid or not, I'm just looking at the perception of what the client feels in this case. Because that seemed to be in our original discussion what the clerks are concerned about. Just by saying, well, it's not our policy to refund your money, you're not going to change that customer's perception, that customer's happiness with the transaction. And maybe you turn them, you find that in the first year you turn everybody down. But I think you're going to get a better feeling from the client when he says, well, geez, somebody looked into this for me and they've already ordered it, I can't get my money back. I think there's a better perception in the customer service end of things if we do that. That would be my opinion.
So then, if we look at, if a replacement fee has not been paid for a lost item, if a replacement fee has been paid for a lost item, a refund will not be issued. The item once paid and ordered is property,
No.
A refund will not be issued if the item has already been ordered.
okay, but not always do we order a material. That's where my staff was getting stuck with.
So are you saying that sometimes you realize, well, this is not something that we're going to replace?
Correct. Maybe it's
Like
an
older?
old copy.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
it's not as popular anymore. Maybe,
Okay.
do you know what I mean?
So
We're
maybe
worried
there's
that
something that
we'll
happens
get-
after
Yes,
that,
we're worried
that you
we're
go, you
gonna
know
get
what, we're
stuck.
not gonna bother replacing it because of X or Y.
Right, but then it's like, well, then I want my money back, you're not replacing it. And the
Right.
truth is, we've lost an item regardless.
Right, and that
gets
money
back
needs to
our-
come back.
yes.
I see.
So that's where we were stuck still. That's where I was still having a conversation and myself was unsure, which made me go back
Okay.
to Sarah.
Because that,
If you knew, if a patron knew this policy very well, there's no incentive to pay. Why pay? Wait.
Wait for what?
Wait, because eventually you go
Because
in,
eventually,
But then-
eventually, there's no incentive to pay.
except that eventually you become not in good standing, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
your-
then,
your-
Eventually
your
the library
account
card will
locked.
not be.
Yeah, if they lose an
Well,
item and they
you
don't pay the
have any
fine.
access to the library at all.
Correct.
Yeah, but he can wait and hope that you'll order the item, or he or she will order.
Your account's still gonna stay blocked because you didn't pay for it.
So here we might have the patron pay even if we don't want to replace the item.
right,
We just
but
don't
there's a,
know. And, I mean, for the most part, we do, but I felt like they felt like that was not always the truth. We might order something different for that. We might need it's not the same copy, it's not replacing the same. We'll get a question, oh, well, what if I bring in the same book? Well, if it's from 1973 and there's a new copy, we're gonna get a newer copy and we're going to replace it differently. So I'm just stuck, I guess,
That's
on
still
that part.
replacing it then.
What's the delta of time where a book is considered lost?
Oh my gosh, 3 weeks, then renewal, I think it's 9 or 12 weeks, something like that. We're
Okay.
going to, yeah.
Because
It's after so many renewals,
Right.
and then it.
Because I think if there's a little bit more specificity on timing, possibly in the language, that might help a little bit, but I can't draw that up right now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's,
I don't know if it's timing as it's just, I mean, we, for most instances, we replace the material.
Yeah.
So that's just it. It's like, if you've already paid for it, we are going to move forward, right, with the next, with that.
Yeah.
And therefore, we're done with the transaction. So I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of that,
Well-
as Trustee Bartlett
What
says,
happens-
in a nice way, right?
It's a customer perception.
how you
Right.
communicate.
That's how the customer
matters.
perceives it.
Yeah.
And if I look at a policy, well, geez, we got your money, it's not our policy to refund. That's a different message than telling, well, we'll have to check to see if we've ordered it.
Sure, sure.
Then you call back and say, I'm sorry, we've reordered it and so forth. I mean,
What's the difference with us saying we don't refund on when someone signs up for a program and they've paid, and we put in the information, we don't refund?
there's no difference. From our original discussion, I thought it was a problem with the customer responding to the librarian when they make that request. This policy change doesn't change that customer's response. He's not going to be all that much happier, the fact that this is in writing. It's just going to be their perception. Their perception doesn't change at all.
Tori, were
But
you gonna say something?
The whole point is just to let them know that we don't refund after you've replaced and paid for the replacement.
Well,
I can't, I guess
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand, sorry.
because at that point, that's where it's kind of bugging me, because I'm not the only crazy person, but as soon as I can't find it, whether it's lost or not in the system, I'm gonna pay it to get, that way it's out of sight, out of mind. But then, Murphy's Law, I will find it, and I go to the library so I don't have to get my own copy. So that's kind of like where my
Right.
problem is here.
Isn't it the perception of patrons similar to the reason that we waive fees for being late? We want it to be a better experience.
Well, in this case, someone's damaged it or lost it at some point, and they've admitted to the loss, and then they've paid for the replacement. They've paid for it. They're saying, oh my gosh, because we always say to them, go home. In fact, I don't know if you saw our social media recently. We
Yes.
gave them all the places to look for a lost item, because they don't like being in, having to return something, and they don't like to be late. They don't like it on
Sure.
their account like that.
Yeah.
Like they look like they're delinquent,
Sure.
right? So they get upset sometimes, and lo and behold, it was under their car seat, A lot of times, they end up finding what they lost, right? So we tell them, go home, keep looking, we do X amount of checks. It's more beneficial for them to do that first, and then the last resort is the replacement and paying for it. So when they do that, it's like both sides are saying, it's gone. You don't have it, and we've done all of our due diligence to check too. If you're ready to pay for it at this point, which has gone on months sometimes, just by the way.
Really?
It can, then we're still waiting for that material to replace. And what if it is a new copy and something, popular? We are waiting until it gets paid in order for us to buy that next copy.
I have a question. I didn't realize that you didn't sort of act until like 9 or 12 weeks. I thought we were talking like 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
No, because we give you time, yeah.
So
Right. So there is time.
when a patron comes in and pays for a lost book, do they sign anything? Do they get a receipt?
Yes, they do get a receipt for their payment of the material, yes.
Is there
And they
some
own the
way?
material at
Is
that
there some way that we can say this is a non-refundable payment? Are you sure you've looked at, I know that you say that,
Right.
but is there something that we can give them in writing, the
In
receipt?
writing, yeah.
I can look at that, but I do believe the staff is saying that. They are verbally.
I'm sure they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
But is there
But-
something, right?
You're gonna have someone come in and go, well, nobody ever told me that.
Yeah,
That's true,
I-
just even on the receipt saying
Yeah.
non-refundable.
Not-
I'm following Trustee Burke's logic with that. I think like if you have something that the patron does sign or acknowledge, that could make it
Right.
better to track.
Right.
And maybe better for the staff.
So that's a procedure. that
Yeah.
we can do.
To address one of the comments about a similar item or a newer version, I thought of using the words, if a replacement fee has not been paid for a lost item, a refund will not be issued if a similar replacement item has been ordered or obtained. So,
I don't want to get into that because
you mean similar, it doesn't have to be the exact same book, it could be a current file, it could be a current,
we deal with that with people.
it could even be a different book, it's just a replacement.
It's a
for that book.
replacement item.
It could be a
But-
different book.
But is it done one for one like that?
Yeah.
Because that's, I pull on my English department stuff. When a kid would lose a book and you'd say, and they try and pay for it, or can I just buy another version? No, because it goes into a fund that then we buy more books with. We might not buy this exact thing. So I understand what you're saying, that, so to have somebody check, Brian, I understand what you're saying, can someone check? Well, if you're not replacing it, how do you even check? You know what I mean? Do you go and say, oh, well, that just went to the general fund, we're no longer buying this book, we're doing this?
Again, even from the customer service perspective, if you call them back in a day, I mean, I've had legal situations where I've had an attorney say, okay, when somebody's coming in and negotiating with you, you can spend up to so much money. Just hang up the phone, you don't have to call me, wait for so often, say, yes, I've checked it out, I can do that. The negotiation is handled, I'm not involved at all. But you can do the same thing with this, is you can, if this is the policy, you can say, okay, we checked it, call back the day later and say, I'm sorry. Unless it's one person that's chronically late, and I don't think that's our problem here.
Yes, we do have that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if there's,
Sure.
if there's,
And we have
yeah,
people that have taken advantage of
Yeah.
the replacement and
If-
returning, and
So-
this is, we have policies because of what
Yeah.
isn't being done.
Julie,
Sure.
if the policy committee
Yeah.
agrees, I think we have to kind of get some data on how many items, because we do track that, how many items are genuinely lost, right? Because I'm concerned of adding another work stream if we have to keep track of ordering and all this stuff and then follow up. I understand what Brian's saying, though.
Sure.
You do want to have good customer service and communicate appropriately. Because the worst is when I deal with this all the time, when I go to certain places where they're like, yeah, we can't do anything. And you're like, oh my God, I can't, like, well, your delivery is the worst. So, I don't know, I feel like we need more data as a board,
Yeah,
so that maybe we can come to a better solution.
This definitely can wait. I'd like to go back then to Sarah. I'll ask her actually to watch this so that she can get your feedback, and we can work, and then what I'll do is I'll pull policy committee back when we have
Yeah.
something else as
I
well.
do have one more question. So if something is gone for like, let's say 9 or 12 weeks, do you specifically wait for the patron to pay the replacement cost before you order it?
Depends on the demand. Because we have a system of looking at holds,
Yeah.
and how long people are waiting for something and things like that too.
Yeah.
So,
'Cause
not
some-
necessarily, but we know we want to get
Yeah.
back that, to put it back in the kitty.
Right.
To keep purchasing, we don't want to lose out on that money
Yeah.
in order to purchase again.
Well, I mean, but do you ever order something before somebody has paid
Yes,
for it?
yes, depending on demand and
Yeah.
things like that, yes.
Because some of the popular items can
Right.
take like 3 months to get.
Right, it depends on, and if they're available, and,
Yeah.
if this is let's say, a unique book that is popular still, but maybe not easily able to obtain, it actually could cost more than what we even have as the price, and that also plays into it. There's a number of things that can add to this, so let me go back.
So if you're going back and talking to
Yeah, I
Sarah,
am.
I
And
also
so I
like what
appreciate- yeah.
Trustee Burke said about even writing on it, no refunds, and as you say it,
A
pointing it to
policy.
them, just as
Yeah.
our policy says.
Something to
You know what I mean?
acknowledge.
Like, just so you know, right now, this is where we are.
Is,
you know.
it says here, overdue materials are considered lost and will be billed to the patron 21 days after the due date, so that you're just like tagging their account.
Yes. But I'll go back.
Okay.
Her and I went back and forth, we thought we
Yeah.
had pretty good language.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is not, critical,
Okay.
what's in place right now is still working, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
we can get that
Mark,
massaged.
I do need to do a motion to table then,
Yeah.
probably,
Yep.
right?
Well, just another question. If they haven't returned the book within the 21 days and their account is tagged, can they borrow more books at that point or not? When does their library privileges get suspended versus when do they tag the account?
When it goes into being lost.
After 21 days.
Isn't that 21 days?
They're considered
Yeah.
delinquent at that point.
So then they couldn't borrow any more books after 21 days?
Well, 21 days after the due date, which
Correct.
can be
Which they
renew.
Yeah, which is several months.
Right.
So, correct.
21
And
After the,
Oh,
Yeah, so it's a long time.
It is a long time.
so they can call up or come in and say, I want to renew this.
Because it gives them, and we've encouraged that, because it gives them time.
To find
keep
it.
looking,
right.
See, we're all about them finding it. That's
Sure.
what we want.
Sure, sure.
yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
want to charge them, but at some point, it comes to, we've run out of renewals, we've run out of your 21 days.
Yeah.
It's now going to be billed. We really got to move forward and make a decision for what we're doing now with the material that we have lost, that we no longer.
And we do specify how many times they can renew, right? Okay.
And if it becomes a hold, it won't allow you to renew anymore, so
Yeah,
that's the other
2
thing. I don't know
renewals is
until
the
Japan
limit.
plays a part in it as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if there's a hold on it, you won't be able to renew anyways. So it's going to go quicker than to loss because it's sitting on your account and it's
Right.
not being able to be renewed. It's moving faster.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah, so I'll go back. It's
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I appreciate the conversation. I'm
Yeah.
hearing what you're saying, but I'd like Sarah to weigh in
Okay.
and see if we can come up
So
with
Mark,
Okay, well, what I would say, based on this discussion, the fact that it is not critical, I would like to entertain a motion to table this until next month in order to give the staff time to relook at
Yeah.
this policy with the comments.
because,
And
At
we'll
this
also
meeting.
meet with the
Right.
policy committee too.
because I'm the originator of the motion, do you need me to make that amendment? Or can it come from anybody?
Or do you want to withdraw your,
Or I
Does
can
somebody
withdraw,
withdraw the
yeah, I
motion?
can withdraw the
That would probably be
motion.
easier if you withdraw the motion,
Okay.
whoever seconded it.
Yeah.
I'll withdraw that motion then.
I will withdraw my second.
Okay.
Then someone will make a motion to table. Which withdraw.
I'd like to make a motion to table the
Circulation policy.
circulation
approval.
policy
Second.
decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any discussion on the tabling motion?
Please no.
You got that all in the minutes? Should ask Kristen.
Yes.
Kristen,
Sorry,
She
Kristen.
got it all.
All right, so
Call
we
for
need to
vote on
vote.
tabling this.
All right, trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Helvangus says yes. Trustee Stirring.
Yes.
Trustee Yu.
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. All right.
Next item for library board action, and I will call this an action item, would be a recommendation to create an ad hoc committee that consists of the chairs from HR and finance, along with the president, regarding how to proceed with a salary structure discussion for 26, 27, to make sure basically that the finance committee and the human resources committee are not working, are working together as opposed to in possible opposite directions.
That'd be very helpful. Yeah, agreed.
Motion to approve the ad hoc committee
I'll second that.
formation.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? And I would like to add that our bylaws expert figured out we could do this as an ad hoc committee.
Oh.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's official.
Bartlett.
No, I just wanted to say that I appreciate it. You know, Trustee Bartlett had some really thoughtful questions that are in our packet that Julie answered. I did see those questions and, out like originally because it dealt with HR. And I'm glad that we're creating an ad hoc because I do think that sometimes our committees do tend to work in silos. And I would rather us come to like a good, thoughtful, and fiscally responsible path so that all the boards involved with it.
I think we already have a meeting scheduled, don't we?
So when I come back, yeah, and it is in person. It is in person. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Secretary, would you take the vote?
Trustee Helvangus says yes. Trustee Stirring.
Yes.
Trustee Yu.
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett.
Yes.
Trustee Burke. And
Yes.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Communication from Barb Ruiz, thank you for the response, Julie. I thought appropriate response and something that we try to consider. It's sometimes not so easy to schedule things when a lot of things are going on, but a very thoughtful response. Thank you. Next item, and it was on the agenda, so by approving the agenda, we approved the upcoming closed session
Yeah, I'm comfortable with not going into closed session with what I have for you. If you
That's-
prefer staying out, it's okay. I have information I can share that is,
Okay.
yeah.
What do we do?
That's certainly your call, whether you
Yeah.
want an open session or closed.
No, it's fine.
Your
Okay,
call.
and how do we do that with the agenda? Does anything have to?
We have to withdraw it, right? Motion to withdraw?
Yeah, let's have a motion. I would entertain a motion at the request of the director to not have a closed session, but have an open session, something like that.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion on changing the closed session to an open session per the request?
I want closed session.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Any discussion?
No.
Ask the secretary to call the roll for a motion she didn't know was going to be there.
That's right. Trustee Stirring.
Good thing you got a lot of blank
That's right.
space.
Extra space. I'm prepared
After last one.
from our motion orama of last month.
Yeah.
Trustee Stirring.
Yes.
Trustee Yu.
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
And Trustee Alvangus says yes. Motion carries 6-0. No closed session.
So what I'm going to give you is just some thoughts on goals, if you want to take one and pass it down.
What I'm going to do, because the gentleman was going to keep the door unlocked
Oh, yes,
for the mayor's conference room,
Oh.
and if we're not going to meet there,
Okay.
I want to unlock it.
okay, no problem.
Tori has a Thanks, Mark.
No, you're good, you're good.
It should be locked, isn't it? I don't know, they said they were going to lock it. Maybe I'm not locking it.
Maybe it's not raining outside.
I hope so.
I don't know how to lock it.
Okay,
There's no inside lock.
Good effort.
and we're back.
I'll take care of it when we're done.
Oh, you will.
Thank you.
So I'm actually just looking for some direction from the board. And what I did is I put together 5 areas that I know are going to be of importance and on my radar for the 26-27 year. So I've put these as professional goals for myself, knowing what's coming up. And I am just looking for some feedback to see if this is what you have in mind for me, if there's anything to add, take off, based on what I know is coming this year. What I also included, though, is just a little bit of information on, kind of like my mindset as a leader and where I'm moving in terms of, keeping myself, kind of checking myself for how I am. And on the second page, where with strategic planning and myself and my team, trying to build a culture of appreciation and things that we're doing with the team. I know that there was some question about, staff feedback, and I think staff feedback is important. It does give me a pulse. It does kind of tell me where we are with things. So I just thought I would share with you kind of these guidelines are things that I'm kind of keeping in my mind as I do the work with the staff and following the strategic plan and the comments that we heard 2 years ago in terms of trying to improve
Right.
over time.
Real quick, since this is kind of the last year of the first 3 years of our strategic plan.
We have a
coming up-
5-year strategic
That's
plan.
what I thought.
Yeah,
but
it
we
goes to
said earlier it was
2027.
3. Okay,
I think what trustee Bartlett meant
This-
was
The contract.
rethinking libraries.
The
Well, it's not the contract, but rethinking libraries. No longer can we reach out without being charged potentially.
oh, yes.
The
Okay,
contract's up.
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
because I was like,
Yeah, but
I
it
don't know,
goes,
I don't think it was 3, but
right,
okay.
no, it's a 5-year.
My question is, would you consider aligning each of your professional goals to a section of the strategic plan? Meaning, like, you're calling it out under the aligned funding and services and, things like that. Because your professional goals, we always set them, you always set them every year.
Right.
We're like, yay, that's great.
Right.
But I think maybe think about how it fits into your overall execution of the strategic plan. It doesn't have to mean you're changing your goals up. I think it's just
I can just
publicly
put 'em-
calling it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I can do that, and then I can update it for you.
Okay.
With that information.
Okay. And I think that'd be a good way for you to measure too. So.
So just, yeah. what did
So
you
this little graphic here,
get? Yes.
are these particular things that you will be doing, like, as part of your goals? This leadership rhythm part, personally thank donors and partners and support? Like,
These are things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
you're currently doing?
Perfect.
I see, okay,
Yeah.
so these up here are your, I understand.
Yeah.
This is just this was great because it allowed me to show, this is a lot of what I do. You know, when you look at the old mindset of my job is to run programs and then how this is actually what I'm doing.
Right.
Okay.
So, and I think maybe there's some misunderstanding of maybe what librarians do, is there a misunderstanding of some of the work I do? And I just felt maybe it was important for you to kind of, so that we're all on the same page. And since there's some really big, major projects here, these 5 areas, which are pretty big, and I think impactful to the organization, I want to be careful with then what else could be thrown at me and then deviated or, you know, just kind of trying to stay on target.
Right.
For this year.
So just this, I guess on that note, and I guess the last few meetings with us, the discussion, us kind of making sure we really understand the roles of the different departments of the library and what your role is as well as the director. So something that I saw that Parks Commission did, I thought was really cool, and I don't know if the rest of our board is interested in that, but just something that they did. Each the Parks Commissioners paired up with one of the supervisors, and they learned a little bit more about their department, and then they did a presentation to the board just to kind of educate everybody. Instead of all of us going and learn every department, which is cool too,
Right.
that would be kind of break it up also. So that was something cool that they did, and I thought that might be something that we might be interested in as well.
Trustee
That kind of
Burke?
goes off that.
Yeah.
Trustee Burke,
So
did
some
you wanna-
shadowing you'd like done?
Yeah.
With some of our departments and then a presentation? Is that what you're looking for, maybe?
Maybe.
That's how Parks Commission did. We don't have to do the same way, but then that, like, maybe we just pair up with just one department and then we can kind of share and educate with our fellow trustees.
Trustee Burke actually brought that up. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Well, I can't remember, I think it was the May meeting,
Mm-hmm.
when we got that really large report from Sarah
Yes.
Nominee.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, she offered
Yep.
to create a shadowing program, or if anybody wanted to come in and shadow her for the day or
Yep.
whatever. So I was saying before the meeting today that I needed to get a hold of her because I wanted to do that.
Yep.
So,
So what you're suggesting, Tori, is broader
Expanding
than
it.
that. and-
Right.
Yeah.
Because I know we've
Great
talked
idea.
about, it before when this kind of discussion started, but then, but that invitation was kind of what started it. And
Yeah.
then when you mentioned it before the meeting, I'm like, oh wait, Parks did that.
Yeah.
okay.
Or Parks doing it
I
like
love
throughout the
that.
year.
No, I love that, and
Yep.
I think when we were in those sessions where the staff could like meet with us and talk with us, I think this is that added step. And if I was a new trustee, like 9 or whatever years ago, that would have been amazing to have an organized program like that.
Okay.
So I think Trustee Burke and Trustee Yu have great suggestions.
Maybe you could ask Sarah to come up with some times and dates?
I would like to go back to my whole management team because
Okay.
what I envision is there are 7 of you, so I'd like to see if I can break out and have certain people and
Assigned
have
to certain
each of you
things.
meet with one department.
Yep.
You could report back what you learned from what that department does.
Would love.
You know, and how it impacts the organization.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I think that might be easier to learn from each other, from your colleagues. I don't think we have
Yeah.
to do a presentation, then we could leave it to
Yeah.
you bringing back some information if we pair you up with some of our staff.
Yeah, and Parks Commission, I think, broke it up each month. It was a different department. But each commissioner would present for
Present.
their
Great.
department, or
Yeah.
at least discuss it.
Okay.
I think what I'm looking for is a substantial amount of time. I don't want to just meet with them.
Yeah.
I want to literally shadow them and see what they do.
Okay,
Which I know it can be
Yeah.
cumbersome when what is considering now that they're busier than normal. But we're not going to learn anything. I mean, I could sit down with a manager and she can say, well, this is what I do, but I'm not gonna understand it unless I see
Yeah.
what she does and how long he or she, excuse me.
I mean,
I think it's gonna be hard to be just in on the day, because I'm gonna use myself as an example. I never have the same day.
sure.
And as something gets thrown at me, that changes the trajectory of maybe what I do.
But
I
that's
mean, I have
perfect.
meetings.
Yeah.
That's perfect though.
So, but maybe we take it, I love where Trustee Burke's going, but maybe we need to formalize it a little more. Maybe there needs to be a structure. So maybe we don't launch it right now. Maybe we let the staff come up with what that structure would be so it doesn't interrupt their day, like fully, right? But we become just integrated into their day. Maybe that needs to happen before we launch it. It doesn't stop Trustee Burke from having her meeting, but I think like we should all consider a formalized structure, an internal ambassador academy like Novi has for the city, right? But it's just for this board to be able to do that with NPL.
So I could do that, we could do that with 2 to 3 of you by presenting, that's how Ambassador does it.
Do you
And
think
then-
that?
And then they
yeah.
give tours of the departments and give you that. I mean, that's how it's done. It's not shadowing someone in their day,
Could we,
and it's about an hour.
yeah, could,
Because I do find that that's a lot to be asking. And I also feel like
But
that's really
she-
not your role. It's not. It's not your role to be in the day-to-day weeds, as I understand it. And if you were to.
But one of the biggest complaints from the meetings that we had, and one of the biggest complaints that you told us in your review.
In my closed session,
yeah, you gotta be
which I
careful.
did this purposely.
Yeah,
Well, then I can't say it.
Exactly.
right.
It's my understanding that the staff doesn't feel like we know what they do. And 2 months ago, Sarah specifically said, if you would like to come in and shadow somebody at the desk.
When she gave the AMHS tour.
Yeah.
No, this was in her report.
In
which
May, but
believe
I know
was
she
the-
offered for you all to come in and do more.
During the tour?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I do remember her saying it in the
Right.
thing.
I mean,
Well, and maybe, could it be approached that way? If that's something Sarah wants to do, Sarah can.
She
The
could
other
take
ones
it to
can
that
do
level.
whatever their comfort
Right.
level
Yeah.
is with
Yeah, I
whatever.
don't know if everyone's
Because
gonna
I
be.
agree with you, I know.
Yeah.
It would
I
be
get it, yeah.
It would have been a pain to have somebody walk
Oh,
around with me all day.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
wouldn't
It's
like
gonna
that.
like double your time to do everything.
Right.
I know that, but.
Right, but if certain people are comfortable doing certain whatever.
I think we wanna leave it in an agreement with them, like they should come up with the schema or whatever you wanna call it.
So this is not fitting into what I'm giving you, so can I have some direction for 26, 27?
Yeah, sorry.
This just added a number 6.
Maybe it's off what you've just been talking about, but just my general comments on these professional goals. Items 2, 3, 4, and 5, to me, sort of look like kind of new things that, are appropriate professional goals. Number 1 is a professional goal, but I don't know that number 1 is
What do you-
any.
Which
These
ones are you
five,
talking
these
about?
five.
These five?
5 at the top.
Yeah.
At 5 at the top,
Yeah,
yeah.
that I don't know that
At the
number
top.
1 is anything different than you always should be doing. We're always looking at the salary structure. We're always looking at adjustments for minimum wage. So somehow this got elevated a little bit in my mind from what we're doing all the time. And so I don't know that to me, that got elevated somehow, but I think we do it all the time.
Well, I feel like there's a little more that's going to be needed this year with this, especially if we're doing an ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that if we're pulling data, which we've started doing, but then I stop because I want to make sure I'm pulling the right data.
Right.
I'm giving the right information. It takes a lot of time to do that, Mark. And so I just want to be thoughtful in making sure that we're all on
Yeah.
the same page and I'm getting you the right information of what you need.
I think part of this too,
And
Mark,
this is gonna be more work than
Yeah.
just, the budget stuff that I've done in
I
the
think,
past.
I think we could look at it, Mark, as maybe her prioritization, like
Right,
where
just-
her,
I,
where she's
I
concentrating.
understand it, but I still
There's a-
look at that as, so.
We do it every
They're more
day,
data
and-
than normal maybe, but you do it all the time. I mean, I expect it all the time, put it that way.
Well, I haven't been, this has been a lot of work in the last year, the salary information and pulling it and working with Kristen and making sure, meeting with you about this
I've
topic.
asked
trying
for
to-
a lot of data, yeah.
Right, so I
They-
just wanna
they
make
put a lot of
sure,
work.
these are goals for me, but this has nothing to do with my daily job for the most part. I mean,
This is above what your
these are the
everyday,
things that I will make sure get done this
high
year.
priority, yeah.
But also, I have other things, so if you're comfortable, this is where I'd like to put my focus to things. The reason for me asking you this tonight was, is there anything else, that is a priority with the 7 of you? Because I don't wanna get an email and say, hey, I wanna do this too, or I wanna look at this, or council wants someone to look into this, and then it's coming to me, and now that's a new focus. I need some focus from all of you tonight.
My other comment would be, and this is kind of conflicting in the sense of, I recognize that you don't have to do everything yourself.
No.
But I also feel, I'd like to know that you're very involved in the day-to-day operation of the library. And in terms of, not just reporting to this board, but I'd like to know that you're spending a fair amount of time, with the staff, what they're doing, interviewing, applicants, or being part of that process. And I get a feeling you're moving a little bit away from that, and that's appropriate in some regards, but at least I have a greater comfort level if I know that you're, very involved in the day-to-day operation as well. And I don't know if the old mindset to the new mindset means you're moving away from that, but I fear to some degree it does.
Well, the reason I brought this was to show you the many different elements to what I do and how it's changed from just, my job is to run programs versus advance the mission. That's what I do. I do that on a regular basis. I'm aligning everybody's initiatives to it. This is all part of the strategic plan. So it's not just, my job is to run a program, it's beyond that. And so these are things I know that are of importance this year that I just want to make sure. If you're looking, Mark, you made a comment about that in terms of HR. If you're wanting me to do that and get more involved in all the interviewing, I don't do that. I trust my team and my managers to do that. I come in at the end and get their input and find out what their recommendations are and get that information from there. I'm not in every interview in the building, and I don't believe anybody else would be. I trust my team to hire what they need for their departments. I have conversations with, are you going to fill it and how? Is there a change to what you need based on what you do in your in your department? Have you had changes to that? I'm the bigger picture to this organization to ask those questions and then have them hire people that fit the skills they need in order to meet that job.
So you never meet the applicant, like in a final interview or anything?
I do not, for many of the positions.
I think it depends on the position.
Yeah, I mean, management and anyone reporting to me and my management team, absolutely. But I trust my people to hire those people. And I have Kristen, who's in HR, who makes sure that those interviews, because she is in those, to make sure that those requirements from the job description, which I'm part of and I approve before it goes out, but I don't think I have to be in those day-to-day. So I'm glad we're having this conversation, because there's a misunderstanding of that. That's good to know, because I'll shift and I'm gonna take some of these things off then to put that kind of time in to do that. I'm just looking
think
for
the comment
supervisors.
wasn't to be involved in all of the interviews, but maybe some of the interviews.
But she is.
But I am,
It depends
The
on
ones
the
that were
position.
relevant.
right.
Okay.
To me,
Were
it's
you
similar to
involved
a
in the-
superintendent of a school.
In the selection of the new librarians?
I was not. I have 2 supervisors and I have an assistant director of public service. And an HR person.
Yeah. I
I've got
guess
4 people that would be in those interviews.
Well, I think that I recently came to that conclusion, and it kind of surprised me that you don't meet with the person at all. Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about every interview, but the final person, you know, hey, you know, we really like this Lori Burke person. Wouldn't,
Oh.
of course.
you know, she, you know, sit down with her, you know, blah, 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 blah. That was a surprise to me. I've not really been involved in a management position before, so I don't know if that's good or bad, but it just surprised me.
I guess I equate it
Julie,
to a
I'll-
superintendent,
I'll
that
make the
a building principal does the stuff. They're the ones at that level. Superintendent is not going
Correct.
to those.
I'll make the.
She is a
compa-
building principal.
No, she's a superintendent.
She's a superintendent. She's the president,
She
basically.
responds to us, just like
Yeah.
the school board has a superintendent.
Well, the comparison, Julie, in my mind, is there were an awful lot of people involved in making a decision for the automatic materials return, including yourself, and you voted on it and evaluated and stuff like that. And somehow, I think that your involvement in that was critical and helpful, but I kind of think the same thing for hiring a librarian, especially in light of what we heard, how critical it has to have at least 3 librarians in the building at each time, and that's the minimum. So somehow, in my mind, I'm elevating a librarian as critical as the automatic return machine. And yet you are saying, I trust my staff to hire that, but I don't trust them to pick the machine. And I don't mean to take that out of context, but that's at least in my mind, that's the comparison I'm making.
I think
I
Yeah.
don't see it
I
that
think
way,
I'm-
but.
I think I know what you're trying to say, Mark. But
I'm glad you do.
I think I know, yeah. What I would say is, I am a manager at where I work, and I was hired by the vice president. The CEO didn't meet me till well after I was onboarded, and that's kind of how I equate it. Like, usually you have someone in HR, and then who the candidate's directly reporting to in those interviews.
Correct.
I have been in situations in my past in very, very small companies that I no longer work for, but like smaller companies where maybe someone from the C-suite might meet with me, but that's only because it was like a family business. So I do understand what you're saying, but there's a certain hierarchical structure, and this is also part of future planning. Julie cannot physically be in every single thing, right? And I know that's not what you're saying, but she has to build out the bench of her leadership, because Julie is not always going to be the director. Eventually, one day, I'm sad to say, but Julia might be excited, she's going to retire. She has to build the bench, she has to build that leadership, and the only way that you can do that is to empower them to lead and to hire the appropriate staff.
Let me ask you one question. What's the
Yeah.
size of the organization that you're with right now? How many full-time?
2,000.
2,000, and I would agree with that. We have a staff of 25 full-time people, not 2,000.
But it's like,
But we have a staff of 60.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think,
And I had that same experience in a company with 100, so
But
It's equivalent.
I
think
just think it would foster a lot of personal, what do I want to say? You know, I keep hearing from other, not just Julie, but from you as well,
Yeah.
that the morale is low.
yeah, that's
And
what we're
I
hearing.
think you know, I just imagine somebody coming in who's moving from a different state, correct?
Potentially, yes.
And they didn't even meet the director. To me, I think that's just
Oh, okay.
odd.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I
I don't
mean,
know. I just think that's,
See, I consider the size of our organization, and believe it or not, 25 full-time people, 40 part-time people, this isn't, thousands of people that were, so
okay.
that-
And there
that's
were
just,
how many
that's my
positions-
personal
How
view.
many positions did you just fill?
3.
Okay, so that's all I'm saying. You know, this is the person I want to hire.
So,
Okay, great. Let's set up a meeting. I'll
Yeah.
talk to them, say hi, meet with them,
do you,
welcome them into,
Yeah.
you've been highly, am I on?
so.
No, sorry.
Oh, sorry. So Lori, I guess my question is, like, in the process, right? Would you consider, after that person is hired and recommended, Julie is a part of the onboarding, they do meet her at that time, would you consider that kind of what
When
you're?
is that, how does that work?
As soon as the offer's made and they accept and everything, they come aboard, I give them a full.
Yeah, we have
tour,
a
I sit with them,
onboarding.
I meet with them, we onboard with Kristen.
Correct,
Okay, you never mentioned all that.
yeah.
Never,
Well, you talked about interviews.
yeah, you're talking about.
So that which is.
I know,
different.
but,
Yeah.
I know, but we're
The
sitting here
conversation
talking
has been
about how you
interviews,
don't
yes.
meet.
I don't know my people, I know.
But that's the impression I got, yes.
No,
You,
no.
we were talking about interviews, you never said, well, I meet them after they're hired. That would have been information.
Okay.
I did let you, you had ample opportunity.
I do know my people very well.
I-
I'm the first tour they get is
Yeah,
for me.
I think it's just maybe how we state things. I think we're all trying to state the same thing, and then maybe it's just word usage, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, well, interviewing is, you're asking the questions and trying to find out if this person is going,
Right.
you're gonna offer a job to them.
but that's
I don't do that.
correct, unless if they report direct to you.
Correct.
Right. But what Lori wants to make sure, and I think what Mark wants to make sure, is that there's a high-touch experience, which you do have. They didn't necessarily know that you have an onboarding thing. Does that help?
Well, yes.
Okay.
It does, but
Okay.
I understood that once she.
Yes.
Does that change that then? Because are you then not looking for me to be in interviews?
I'm not looking for you to be in every interview.
Right.
But if there was 3 people that your manager came and said, I want to hire this person, I think it would be helpful if you had a final interview with them before the offer was made.
So then you're telling me to be part of interviews. That's what I'm trying to clarify. I mean, and so I need to know that. Because the person's already got the offer to starting the job when I meet them.
I will go back to the valuation. I think each person is more important to a library of this size than the automatic material return. And I know you were very involved in the automatic material return. I mean, don't you have, the same logic that I've got staff to do that. I got experienced, knowledgeable staff. They could talk to the vendor and they could figure this out. Why is not a librarian, who I think of as a very important person in the library, not of equal importance as the automatic material return system?
They are, and I give them that importance once they come in and they've been selected by my team, that my team feels important, that they've chosen those people to work with them. So I've given them the empowerment and the trust to do that. When you talk about the automated material handling system, which I think is
Capital
literally a
investment.
cantaloupe to a line, you're talking a system. You're talking something that is a project and, multiple months that could potentially close the library, where I'm gonna have to get involved in those decisions way differently than, how someone will be trained, because we have the manuals and we know they have a structure in place. This is something new that has a structure, but it's new to the organization to be done. I'm hoping I'm articulating that right, but I don't see those being parallel.
And I guess I would also, as far as interviewing, to me, I want to be interviewing with the person I'm working with. I don't want to be interviewing with somebody that is in a whole other department doing other things, because that's who I'm going to be working with. I want, as a manager, I want to have say over who I'm going to have in my department. I don't want to have Julie say, we want this person, and I'm going, I don't think I can work with this person.
But from the one I'm
you know, I
gathering
mean-
is Kristen does most of the interviewing. Kristen was the key person plus the department head, right?
Kristen sits in to make sure that the
It's
ADM
compliant.
process is being followed.
And legal, yeah.
Correct.
I think Brian
She
wanted to
makes
say
no
something.
decisions. It's the people that are from the department that make
Yeah, I'm not looking for every interview, but in 40 years, I can't remember a single interview I ever went on where I wasn't interviewing, of course, with who I'm going to work for. They were, if they made the selection, I was always passed on to the next level management before an offer ever came out.
Well, that's
Because-
slow process.
Well,
And I know that there
the
was a
pro-
concern
well, the-
for it being too slow as it was, because that means another meeting with me to meet that person. And that
And
does take
then
time
it-
to schedule.
I
So
think
I want to
if-
make sure that
Because-
that also is,
If this is gonna be a priority that the board wants, then you have to deprioritize something off this list.
well,
Because that is
that's-
changing.
Oh, no. We're talking about, there was 3 interviews.
But they don't report to her directly, though.
There was 3 interviews.
Yeah.
So you want to take one of these things off the list for 3 half-hour meetings?
No, I don't know if they're half hour, Lori, but if Julie's gonna be part of that process and it does take longer, that is something to consider. Because we really need her out there building relationships and fundraising too.
I
And-
just knew
Well-
that these were big things this year that I wanted to make sure
We see,
you
yeah.
knew I was putting my efforts towards.
This is
If
your
I-
high
yes,
priority focus.
Correct, and if I need, if interviewing as positions open up, and we've got one that's still open from facilities, so if that's the case, then I will shift and make sure that those become a priority in terms of my schedule and the things I do, so that, they can get to me quickly. I've got to make myself more available.
I
guess I have a question as far as if this has been the practice, and because everybody here seems surprised that this has been the practice, are people sitting here unhappy with the hiring? Are they unhappy with the staff?
I don't
Are they
agree
unhappy
with-
with?
I-
We don't know.
I'm not in,
with the 3 staff that have just been hired, we
Yeah.
haven't,
Right, but what I'm saying is if this has
With
been
the
the
current-
practice before all of this, not with these 3,
yeah.
the past however many years,
We have a lot of,
19 years.
yeah.
I've
Is
never
there
had
something
anybody
that's
complain
happening
about it.
currently that
You've never
people-
interviewed anybody in the 19 years? Here,
No, I-
That
the
doesn't
ones that
make
she
sense.
evaluates and that you
interviewed
work
a lot
with?
of people in my years, people that work for me directly, or that, that I'm going to have an interaction with, or have regular interactions with, yes, absolutely.
but somehow I think that regular interaction is with librarians. Now, maybe it's not with the part-time facility staff, but I
My
think,
interactions with our librarians are from a committee for, okay, what kind of programming is going on? What's your focus on programming this year? HR, what are we doing with staff in HR and the employees that I'm part of? Policy, working on policy to get back to you. DEI, bringing out those initiatives and the staff that I work with. So I work with a number of staff that I'm interacting with on a regular basis. I make sure that I'm trying to be with all the departments and connect with them. But I don't directly tell them what to do. That's not my job. I might get involved if there's something of concern, or if there's something new that they want to bring to the organization, and they've had conversations with their managers, and now it's time, okay, money's involved, time's involved, how does that change the organization, or, how does that impact the organization? Then I might get involved in it, because they're gonna bring that idea up, or based on strategic planning and some of the things that are already there, what does that mean for making a decision for when I go to you for budget, when I make those decisions, when I have to go out for sponsorship then, because we need that money and we don't really have it here, working with the Friends in that capacity. This project won't have a lot of staff involved in it, this youth project. It'll have youth staff, but it's really gonna be very much mine in order to get a lot of that done, working with the architects and stuff. That's not gonna be the other staff. So that's why I know these big projects are coming up, and I brought this up because I was hearing some of this, you know.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I don't think we're looking for you to wait another week to meet, but in my experience, and I think in other people's experience, that the process would, hey, by the way, you're here, our director sits over there, why don't you just say hello to the director for 5 minutes? That's the kind of thing I'm a little surprised at. Maybe you wouldn't have met everybody, but you're probably in the building most of the time, or you know, the fact there was sort of no contact with any of the interview was surprising, I think, to me. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying it was surprising to me.
I'm aware of the candidates and their backgrounds and stuff before they go into those interviews, but, yeah, I just, okay, so if that's becoming a priority, I guess I'm
It's-
looking for some direction then with
It's
the
not-
6 things
It's not in full agreement. It's,
It's just an idea
yeah.
from
There you go.
me. It's an idea
Just
from
throw it
me.
out as that.
Leave it at that.
I don't know if I'm ready to rubber stamp all, like, this as all your goals, or
Sure.
just your goals. I'm not saying that properly. Because this is the first that I've seen of this. And,
Well, I haven't done it in the past like this. I just know there's a lot that's coming up this year. I want to just make sure that.
We're all
some of the
aligned.
things- Yeah. I want to make sure I meet the expectations of what's going on, so.
so number 4, you're taking over for, your
Dana?
communications manager
Yes.
while she's on maternity leave?
Yes. I would be your backup.
I think these are all really good. You know, I think they're all things that, some of them are already in the works, so to speak. This is just specifics along with all your other stuff, correct?
Right, yes. Yes. These are going to be a main focus to the other things I do. Correct.
Yeah, I think the concern is, we're gonna judge you based on these 5 items. And I mean, and it's like, you do so much more than that.
No, I just needed you to know where my time is going to go this year. And if there's other things that you feel need to be on here, based on what you know from the strategic plan, you've all been a part of the strategic plan for 3 years, you know, or if there's anything else that you know of that could be coming up.
Yeah.
I just.
And that will come up, as it comes up.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know about it now because it's gonna come up.
Are there things that you're thinking of, you're gonna start creating your goals for your committees, so I gave you these, but you have to give me the goals of your committees now. You've completed, if you look in the packet, I put in red, completed, where you are with things that you're helping me achieve, and so is there something then that you want to focus on this year? I mean, you have ideas also as board members. Is there something missing from here that you feel should be part of what we're doing with the organization? And if it's something that I need to be part of.
I have a little trouble sort of separating, the list of things that we talk about in a closed session for your review, and then talking about these professional goals, because I think they're kind of intertwined.
Yeah. Well, in the past, what I've done is I have just done it myself, put these in a document and given them to you. I'm
Right.
just being more transparent with all of you to let you know what I'm working on.
More collaborative, yeah.
But that's, I guess we like that, and I think you're getting some feedback, and as you have 6 or 7 board members, we're all not gonna have the same thing to say.
That's true.
Right.
Okay, so I just wanted to,
yeah.
this is where my focus will be.
What I
Okay.
think though is just if you can articulate and align your focus to the strategic plan,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, that's
You
not-
you might have more of one part of it than another that give, in any given budget year.
But it's also helpful for me to share this with my team.
Yeah.
So they know where some of my
Yeah.
efforts are going
But,
to.
but what I would say, Julie, to Mark's point, if something does come up and something does shift, because something always happens, but knock on wood, but
You would know, because,
Yeah, but-
I'd be saying, hey, this is.
Correct.
might not get done.
you would have to
because-
reprioritize and
yes.
shift.
Oh,
Okay.
I do that with
Yeah.
our budgets and everything
Yeah.
else we do.
So I think that's all it
I just
is.
needed you to be aware of where I'm going to start this year because
Yeah.
of what I know is of priority.
I just want to make sure that that's clear.
That's fair.
Okay. Cool.
Any other comments from the board?
No, it's good discussion.
Any other comments, Julie?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I think that means we can call for an adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Do we voice or
All in
hand call?
favor? Sure.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.